You know what I just dreamt about? Well, you can find out soon when I start my own website on Squarespace. Because Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for when you want to make your own website. They got domains, they got analytics. This whole thing is so dang easy to use and get my website about taking pictures of actual hot tubs into fruition. And then you know what? If I want to start selling these prints of these pictures of hot tubs, and if I wanted to start selling, I don't know, let's say framed pictures of these hot tubs, then Squarespace has got my back too, because they have online stores. They've got all the stuff that I need for e-commerce and all the stuff to help my budding photography hot tub business boom. I can sell products, I can sell gift cards, digital products, subscriptions to perhaps a calendar of hot tub photos, or my services to take pictures of your hot tub. And they got domains, so we can use Jan takes pictures of hottubs.com, .net, .org, or maybe like an even more granular one, like Jan takes photos of hottubs.art. Squarespace is the perfect place to showcase your work. You can blog or publish content, and they got a whole suite of creative tools to make your website, your dreams, look even better than they look in your noggin. Go to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks, Squarespace. Welcome, everybody, to the Giant Bombcast, episode 754. We've assembled the only grouping of three people that makes sense to dethrone Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. That's right, Jess O'Brien, who knows nothing about wrestling. We're gonna take them down. Right, Jess?
Yeah, I presume we are, or at least I can provide them with distracting muffins.
There we go. Muffins are nothing but distracting.
Also,
Jeff Grubb is frozen.
Jeff Grubb is frozen. Probably intimidated by these muffins.
Well, this is where I would intro and say co-captain of the ship is Jeff Grubb, but he looks like he is frozen.
It looks like his computer died. I'll be right back.
He'll join us very shortly. Best wishes to Jeff Grubb's computer. That's right. It's a busy week. We had a 3-day weekend, so we thought, why not have a 3-person podcast today, right?
Sure.
That was the line of thinking, right, Jessica?
It definitely was exactly what happened there.
Yes. Well, you know what? Let's just keep going, even though Jeff Grubb is going to have to eventually join. This is going to be fun to stitch together afterwards. Jess, we had a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
What did you do? You get some relaxation in? You rest at all?
I didn't work because I do have a manager that is very anti me working on the weekends, as he should be. That's responsible and good management right there. However, Hot Takeouts was due on Monday. So, Jeff Grubb, he's back.
Oh, hello, I'm
Jeff
here.
Grubb.
I think it's going to work this time. If I go away again, I'll go to my other computer and we'll do it from there. That was just the perfect timing. I was very happy with the way that worked out. Woo!
I thought you were just appreciating the music as it swept over you. Is what happened.
Wait, cause I could tell. I see. I was frozen there before I got right back on. How long before you guys noticed that I was frozen?
I think as soon as faded in from the intro video, and then noticed you weren't doing your normal jamming to the music as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, this. You missed the intro, but this probably means the person infecting our computers is Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. They're scared.
It's the only explanation
that the three of us are going to come for those titles. Jess is already getting prepped by eating muffins during a podcast or like a media scrum of sorts.
Is it closed on Mondays and Tuesdays? It probably is.
Yes.
She's not going to get these right. You just keep eating your muffins. We're going to keep making wrestling references. That's what a giant bombcast is. That's how it works.
This is great stuff for me.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Jess, have you ever bit someone? Again. Have you ever like in a fight?
What?
Yes. Have you ever bit someone in a fight?
Answer the question, Jess.
What?
Right. Okay. All right. Have you ever thrown a chair at someone?
What?
After being confronted about perhaps toxic workplace behavior?
What? No.
Okay. All right. You would love the hot goss.
Have you ever done improv?
Yes, a little. Not really. Not officially.
What about with a man named Scott Colton?
Scott Colton.
No.
Okay. All right.
So you're not friends with Scott Colton. Okay. All right. Well, you blew up my spot here, but all right.
Do you share a bank account with your mother?
No.
Okay. All right.
Have you or are
All
you
these things are
related
hilarious,
to the
Jess.
Communist Party?
That's not currently a wrestling.
I don't have to answer that at work. I don't have to answer that.
Yeah, that's not currently a wrestling thing. I get.
No.
No, at least not yet. At least not right now.
Video games.
Oh yeah, we could just have Tony Khan, like a gif of Tony Khan as our fourth on this week, and he's just like making a face like, oh god.
Oh, I gotta get that. Perfect. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna work on that as soon as we do stuff. But Grubb, we had a 3-day weekend. Did you get down to any like fun stuff with the fam or whatever?
I cleared out my closet back there of all of the Halloween stuff, so it's like ready to go. Ooh. And like we hesitated on pulling the trigger on not actually putting it up, but now it's like much better organized. So when we are ready, it's like I could just get it all out, get ready to go. So now my closet's pretty organized. I can get to all my like extra USB cables, I guess, now pretty easily. But yeah, it was that's pretty much what I did over the weekend was lay around and watch wrestling and then clear out one of my closets. So
what's
a typical American Labor Day weekend.
What's the most Halloween-y fun thing you have in that closet?
We have a whole bunch of like plastic pumpkins that also involve cats in some way because I have 2 little girls. So and I like cats too, but also like so. We did have to get those out because they remember them. Like they're 5 and 3, but they still remember every little thing that has a cat on it. So last night, my 5-year-old did sleep with a plastic light up pumpkin that has a cat poking out with a little pumpkin cap thing on his head. And I'm like, oh my god, okay, very cute. And then there's the giant inflatable, like one of those constantly inflating things that has the little motor in it. Giant pumpkin, one of those. That's probably the family favorite right there. We call him Mr. Pumpkin, and he's number one in our hearts.
You gotta respect him.
I want to get the 12-foot skeleton. I'm mad. Patrick Klepek got the 12-foot skeleton. I should have the 12-foot skeleton.
I don't think you can get it anymore. I think it's all gone. We ran out of bones.
I think they come and go. There's only so many 12-foot skeleton bones.
I mean, those are real skeletons, right? That's just like a time gone by. That's Bigfoot, right? That's what we're doing?
Right, yes.
It's Ben Pack's skeleton.
And his family. Yeah, Ben Pack's skeleton. There you go.
Yes, because
they used him as the mold.
Yeah, because
that's how everyone found out. Sorry,
Ben Pack sheds his skeleton on a biannual basis.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, that's why he has back problems. It's not a comfortable procedure.
Yes.
Right. Every year it's a baby skeleton in there. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's the Junji Ito story.
Grubb, have you had the conversation with the children yet about skeletons and how they're inside everyone?
Yeah, yes, I absolutely have because they're big fans of skeletons. The conversation. I knew what he was talking about immediately.
I was scared as a child when I found out. I was like, why is there a skeleton in me? If I get electrocuted, will I see the skeleton?
I don't think I needed the talk about there's a skeleton in you.
Birds, the bees, and the skeleton inside of me's.
That's the title of this one.
Yeah, you got it that early. We are on a roll here. Yeah, my kids love skeletons. We call them Mr. Bones or Misty Bones. Whenever we see a skeleton, that's also right up there with Mr. Pumpkin. They love them, especially the young one. She's got a T-shirt that is like a skeleton thing, and she like wears it all the time. She thinks she's so cool, and she is.
She is
raising a little
cool.
goth.
They're both going to be little goths.
Have you shown them the video game yet, Mr. Bones?
tried. It's a pretty bad video game. Sorry to the guy who makes it, who made Echo the Dolphin, but it's a pretty bad video game. It rules though in every other way because it's just like got great cinematics and like CGI skeletons.
Slaps.
Every cutscene is great,
and then you have to play the video game, and you go, "Oh man!"
Which is, I think, one of the earliest like automatic runners. It was an automatic running platformer. The skeleton, Mr. Bones, is just always running. You just have to like time the jumps. At least as far as what I played, I didn't play much more than the first couple of levels. So yeah, it was pretty bad. Or maybe I had like a broken emulator or something, and it just kept going. But either way, it's a bad video game. But yeah, my kids enjoyed watching that for like 5 minutes, and then they're like, "Well, give me back my Mr. Bones cartoons trash from YouTube." I'm like, "Okay, all right, let's go back to that."
That's so adorable.
Yeah, they really are little Gus though. They're growing up that way. I can't even. I'm like, I didn't choose this. This is what they're into. So oh well.
They chose the goth life.
Yeah, the goth life chose them.
Just like I'm choosing to move on to the game segment.
A good choice.
Video games. Not a lot of. It's still kind of a dry time, isn't it, folks? Not too much popping off. I'm excited about Splatoon 3 later this week.
Me too. Yeah, me too. I think some people would say, but Jan, The Last of Us Part 1 just came out, and I'm not playing that. I don't know if either of you two are.
I fired it up, and I think the quick look that we put up with you and Dan, brilliant in showing off the game.
That was all Dan's idea. Yeah.
It's The Last of Us. It's the first Last of Us. I feel like I played through that like 3-4 years ago. It just looks better. Joel looks much older. I honestly don't know what else to talk about with that game other than like, all right, it looks gorier and more violent now, I guess. I honestly thought when they had announced The Last of Us Part 1 that they would reskin Joel to look more like Pedro Pascal.
I was going to ask, is he a little more Pedro-y?
No, he's much more older Joel. He kind of looks older than he does in Last of Us Part 2 in certain bits. But yeah, I haven't been playing it because it's almost the same game.
Yeah.
I'm
still good.
We wanted to play the other equivalent, Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Last of Us of Disney games. But that is out today. We weren't able to get early code, so it's like, well, I know a lot of us were interested in like just seeing what the hell that thing even is. So it's like, yeah, games are coming out that we at least are curious about or that we are aware are big. But just like they're kind of missing us here or there for various reasons. So yeah, kind of how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. But a game that I have been checking out on the side here is Ooblets. Ooblets, now out on the Nintendo Switch. It's been out before, I believe. It's been on Epic, and I believe it was also on Game Pass previously. Abby and I did what I believe was an unfinished or a quick look a year, 2 years ago now. If you don't know what Ooblets is kind of it's a very cute, quirky looking Pokemon-like where you're collecting all these different Ooblets or these monsters. In addition, you are also, it is kind of like a Stardew Valley or a Harvest Moon style game where you have your own little hub area where you are crafting your house, you are farming, you are using your Ooblets to not only watch over your farm, and they all look super cute, they all look a little funky. So you have the Ooblets watch over your farm, you adventure with some of your Ooblets. It runs perfectly fine on the Switch. It's not normally my style of game, like a Stardew Valley or farming type of sim, despite really being into Pokemon and managing those little creeps.
I was going to say, I thought you'd vibe with that kind of management-y,
I think
chill sort of game. I don't know.
I think it's too chill for me. It's too calm. But there's something about Ooblets, just I think the overall vibe of everything. And also, the best part about Ooblets is that you do kind of have Pokemon-style equivalent battles, but they're dance battles.
Right. That's so great.
So you have
I need
your
to get
part.
into this game.
Jess, I think you'd really like it, actually.
I really do think like it's checking off a lot of boxes for me, and my head was too deep into editing that video, and I forgot all about video games.
We'll get you out of the editing mines soon.
Video games, huh?
Wow. But yeah, Ooblets, it's a really, really chill, fun time. If you're looking for something that's, I don't want to say a little bit more involved than Stardew, but if you're tired of something like Stardew, if you've reached peak saturation with that, definitely give Ooblets a try. I believe it's already out everywhere else. It just came to the Switch fairly recently. You know what else is on the Switch, Jeff Grubb? Jeff Grubb, this is where you ask the question, like what is on the Switch, Jan?
What is on the Switch?
Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Nailed it.
I don't know how they do this. I don't want to, because I feel like I'm going to spoil too much in this game, but I have reached hour 20 something now. And I don't understand how this game continually keeps getting better.
Oh.
Normally by this time in a game at 25 hours, you'd expect to be done. You'd expect to stop learning things.
Sure.
Yeah.
You'd expect to like fall into a gameplay loop where it's like, all right, cool, I guess I'll just do another run or whatever. But there somehow is so much in this that the only thing stopping me from playing this is other responsibilities and Fortnite.
Right. So other responsibilities. Right.
Yeah, other responsibilities. I don't want to talk too much about this game because I could honestly talk for the rest of the podcast about it. But if you have liked any type of like ensemble game in the past, no matter the genre, if you've liked something like Mass Effect or even other games with like a big party that you're managing folks in, you need to check out Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It is an incredibly huge time investment, all things considered. But if you were looking to just play one game for the rest of the year and really get invested in this anime child teen army, this is definitely the game. And like, yeah, the last thing I'll say, and we'll move on to the next game, is that I think the thing that this has helped me realize is that in a similar way, like 13 Sentinels and Guardians of the Galaxy, I think I just really thrive off of working incredibly well with other people and just having like a party dynamic going. And
you like a posse.
I like a posse. I like rolling deep with a gang, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow. Sometimes they all hate each other and there's so much angst, but at the same time, it's like, no, we got to go do this together, mate. Blah, blah, media. If you are at all curious, please check out Xenoblade Chronicles 3, or at least check out any of the streams Jeff has done with Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah, we're having a good time. I'm keeping at it because I'm enjoying it. Eventually here, I'm going to do a longer stream so I can play a lot more of it and really get into it. But 6 hours in over the last couple of weeks, it is really fun. I guess I'm not too surprised because apparently the game is significantly longer than even what you've played, but it is still surprising to hear like, oh, you're at 25 hours and still kind of having your mind blown. That's impressive.
Yeah. Speaking about other very long JRPGs, Jessica, you finally beat a game last night.
I finally beat Chrono Trigger.
How was it?
Done.
Should we spoiler warnings for like a 20-plus-year-old game?
Yeah.
Quickly coming up on 30. Yeah.
Chrono Trigger's good, it turns out. So this is, like I think I mentioned all the way when I freaking started this game 6 months ago, and I just fell off it because all these other things were happening. I had like a wedding to go to. I had all the hot takeouts happening. Like all these juggles. I was juggling so many things and just not playing any freaking video games. But this is part of my education of the JRPG genre, because something that me and my partner don't have in common is that he loves JRPGs. He grew up on them. He's super duper into them. And that was just simply not part of my repertoire growing up. And I feel like, I just had Pokemon. Like, that's it, basically. That was the only one that I fucked around with.
That's JRPG. JRPG.
It's one of the most JRPGs, but yeah, I get what you're saying still.
And I was only into it because I liked the anime and collecting all little guys and stuff like that. So I really didn't vibe with the actual JRPG-ness
grinding
of it.
nature and everything. Yeah.
I was there for the zeitgeist, basically. When you're 8 and Pokemon just came out,
you were there for the
wild.
vibes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to be relevant socially whatsoever, you got to play the fucking Pokemon, right? So I kind of missed out.
As a 16-year-old man in high school, that's right. That's what I was saying to myself. Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, I didn't have a SNES or a NES, so I missed out on a lot. That's where a lot of the JRPGs were at, basically. And I just didn't. I'm not educated in the field, I think. So so basically, Chrono Trigger was one of the ones where you know, Josh, my semi-husband, was like, you got to play this. You're going to like it, actually. I was like, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And like, no, yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's active. The plot's cool. It's got so much impressive stuff that I didn't think like you could do in what was this, 1994 or something like that.
The music does it too. Like, it's like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, like graphically, musically, plot-wise, character-wise. Like, I gave a shit about all these little guys. I was like, wow. Where are we going? Who's that man?
Ignore him. Just
Don't worry
that
about
man?
him.
Don't worry about him. Don't worry about him.
I don't know him.
He has no power here nor anywhere, apparently. Don't worry about that. Okay, so wait, Jess, you liked it. It's definitely on a Mount Rushmore of 1990s RPGs. Jan, do you think there's any other 1990s Mount Rushmore JRPGs that we could recommend to her that she would actually like as much as Chrono Trigger?
I have he's distracting me. He looks like he's judging me.
You just look at us. Don't worry about him.
I'll give you guys a different feed then.
I'm gonna cover up him with my hand.
Oh, there you go.
I don't like his judgies. But next on my syllabus of JRPGs to do after Chrono Trigger is
interesting. Okay.
Final Fantasy VII.
No, yeah, I honestly like after for like 90s like canon JRPGs, I feel like the next step would be that in terms of like mainstream like appeal and everything for JRPGs and like the in terms of influences, right? Because
absolutely, yeah. Like, and I've seen large amounts of the remake, because I'm just sitting on the couch next to someone who's obsessed with Final Fantasy.
Sure.
So I saw a lot of the remake, and it's like, he's telling me like all this stuff was in the game. Like they didn't like all these events happened. Like they're not changing too much right now. Like there's some little things are changing, and it's really neat and interesting. But like, I'm like, wow, all this stuff is in this game. And I feel like every time someone tells me something about Final Fantasy VII, it's a whole new thing that I didn't know about. Like, you ride a dolphin. I didn't know that.
Right.
There's a CPR minigame. What? Like, I learn new things every time someone brings up. It's like, how is it possible? There's so many different things in this game, and it came out in the 90s. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm trying to think, because I'm thinking of other JRPGs that mattered to me versus like globally. Like
Earthbound, also important. I'm interested in Earthbound.
Earthbound actually probably does make it into like that top 4 or 5 that you should play today from that time to like represent that time. Yeah. Earthbound's definitely one of them. I'm like trying to think of like any of the Dragon Quest games. I'm not sure.
I heard those are really really tedious though.
Yes, but there are some of them that people can go back to today and do and really enjoy. I think it's Dragon Quest 3, but I think if you play Final Fantasy 7, I would almost rather you then go to Final Fantasy 6 instead of any of the Dragon Quest games.
Actually,
is that the one with Zidane?
Oh, that's 9.
Yeah, nine's also really well liked. I've never played it. But
who's the protagonist in 6? Is that Leon?
That's
That's 8.
It's 8.
It's Kafka. Kafka.
Who's that?
Well,
he poisons a lake. That's what you need to know. Or poisons a river.
Terra is I believe.
I've never.
Okay. Oh, you said protagonist. I thought you said antagonist. My bad. Yes. My bad. Yes. Terra is the protagonist. Yes,
okay.
Kafka is the antagonist.
I was very confused because I was like, wait a minute.
Is there like a twist at the end? I thought he was one of the bad guy names.
Nope, that's Stranger of Paradise.
Yep.
Also, Super Mario RPG. I played a good chunk of that and fell off it, but I'm interested to get back to that too. Actually,
have you tried
That's a great game too.
Any of the Mario and Luigi games, like the Inside
Bowser's Inside Story? I played and I liked it. I also really liked
Superstar Saga
Paper
is the
Mario.
best one of those, the first one. Paper Mario's good too. Yeah,
the OG Paper Mario is great. I think I fell off the sequel. I'm not sure. Your Door? Yeah, I think I fell off the sequel. I don't think I finished that all the way, but I did beat Paper Mario, the OG.
There's a lot of sequels where you're probably talking about Thousand Year Door. Okay.
Yeah, the selfish one that I want to recommend only because I love it so much is Legend of the Dragoon. I just thought it was super effing cool as a kid. Like, I spent so much time at the Kmart at that demo kiosk. It also just looks it's so dope. There's also a whole slew of GBA JRPGs that are like insane.
Golden Sun would be good.
Yeah.
I'm like the deep cuts from the 90s. Vagrant Story I think would be a really cool one. I think that might hold up today. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, coming off of Chrono Trigger, the problem is going to be Chrono Trigger might actually always end up being one of the top ones for you from now on, because it's just
of
so
course,
well liked.
Live Alive was also, on the dossier or whatever you want to call it.
Jess, have you ever checked out the Final Fantasy Tactics games, specifically the GBA ones?
I have not personally played them. I've seen, again, over the shoulder of someone else, a lot of like some of the tactics games.
It is a very, very long build up, but I feel like that is another game with a very strong story that could pull you through.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah, folks are right. There's a lot going on in those games, though, to immediately jump in after enjoying Chrono Trigger. All right. Speaking about
Final Boss was cool.
Man.
Final Boss was cool. Like, I was nervous. Like, I would go into this thing. There's just more, and then there's more, and then there's another form, and I'm just like, oh shit! Like, he's not very hard. Because I did like all the side stuff, so it's pretty powerful and stuff like that. But it's just like, the presence.
I just love how they play with the scale. A big gargantuan thing fighting a bunch of little dudes, just like how Jeff Grubb is throwing a bunch of dudes in Tinykin.
Yeah, I think we talked about Tinykin a little bit last week, but I've been playing more of it. It's been my main game. It's been one of those ones where I'm not in the mood to play video games. What am I going to pick up? I am like, oh no, I cannot wait to get back specifically to Tinykin because I want to play more of that game. It's, usually that doesn't always happen. A lot of times it's like, I'm just in the mood for games. We'll dip in here and there on a bunch of different things, and that's fine with me. In this case, it's like, okay, no, they are doing something pretty special for what is, otherwise a relatively small indie game. But they have these big environments that are fun to explore, and each environment is just as fun as the last one. In some ways, they're usually bigger and more complicated. And the platform and mechanics are very well done. Bringing in the Pikmin stuff, so you are building ladders with these guys and blowing stuff up and moving things out of the way using these little guys. That's all great. But then just the core mechanics of your guy being able to hover and have a longer hover as you unearth more of these collectibles, that works. But really the star of the show here is these worlds that have so many nooks and crannies to get into. You stand far away and you see all the little collectibles just sprawled all over everything, and you're like, I can't wait till I get to there, I can't wait till I get to there. And as you zoom in with your character and actually go to these places, then once you're there, you do that same thing again. You're like, oh, now I see a little wrinkle over there, I want to go under there, and that looks like something maybe I can move if I have the right Tinykin. I should look into that. And it's that is very rewarding for me, and it's also at the same time not overwhelming because it's a very simple looking cartoon world, and it's very easy to parse immediately like what you can and can't do in this space. And so I've been really loving it. It's exactly the kind of game I needed right now. I'm very happy that it exists.
It's a quickie.
And if you want a relevant video essay about how gamers parse environments and how that ties into art direction,
Jess, we were gonna do that last, man.
You should check out Hot Takeouts. I just made one. Anyway.
Jess, the
We'll go back
segue,
to
don't
it.
just jump on it.
We'll get back to it.
Jess, come on. Come on.
I'm definitely
my whole
doing a talk
flow's
about
gone.
You broke the flow.
I lost
it.
my
You
mojo.
understand how important his flow is.
It's like Austin Powers 3. Now I have to go on a time heist to get my mojo back for segues.
Right.
That's
With
the
mojo.
second
And I'm pretty
Austin
sure mojo
Powers.
was just. I think it was about him like unlosing his virginity when I try to think about what the mojo was, but whatever. We could talk about that on another podcast.
No, that's not the mojo.
What is the mojo then?
The mojo is
like
just
him
your
as-
ability to get fucking hard, man. He's
Oh, it
got
was just
erectile
the boner.
dysfunction.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool. All right.
well, stay tuned for the ads this week then,
libido.
because we can help them with that. Okay. Jesus.
All right then.
All right. Jessica, before I segue to the other thing, I wanted to talk to you about something, and we don't have to get into it. We can just lightly graze past it.
Okay.
Okay. Tell me, we'll talk about it here on air and we'll plan this out. Immortality is a game that came out last week.
Mm-hmm.
And a certain auteur is the one of the primary forces behind this. I will say that I don't have much experience, if at all, with any of his games.
Mm-hmm.
Not normally my bag.
Same.
That's fine. Yeah.
But with all of the buzz around this game, I cannot help but be very curious because,
Same.
you know, I see folks and homies that like I really trust their opinion, really talking a big thing about this game. And honestly, I have no idea about it. However, at the same time, I also really respect your opinion. And let's just say
there's your mistake.
let's just say you are not a fan. We don't have to get into it now. I was going to say that you've played what I feel like is a very long portion of this game. Perhaps
and somehow it didn't
7
end.
or so hours.
I accidentally did about an 8-hour long stream with breaks, just a couple breaks, a couple rants in the middle of it. Totally expecting to beat this game. I'm not trying to drag it out or anything. And it still ain't over. Some people are hitting the credits at like an hour, 2 hours in. I'm just like, okay, I guess the game hates me specifically.
And Sam Barlow is the origin of how do I know when I'm satisfied, right? Like, the person on Twitter was asking him like, how do I beat the game? It's like, well, you're supposed to go to you're satisfied, and the person's like, how do I know when I'm satisfied? And everyone's like, oh my god,
all-time great screenshot from Steam, like way up there.
That's I've never played any of the games, but I have an affinity for that very like specific like response and stuff. Like, hey, how do I know when I'm satisfied? What are you talking about? How am I supposed to tell you that? But Immortality also is attractive to me because of the clicking on the screen and zooming to the other shots. Now, that's as far as I understand it. I don't know if that mechanic works well, whatever. I just like that idea of like looking at a movie scene, clicking on it. I actually really like watching movies on Amazon Prime Video because they have the really good thing of like context aware.
Oh yeah, that's actually really nice.
Digital information. And where it's like, oh, what is on the screen? It'll give you information about what's on that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I like that. So it's like, gamifying that seems interesting to me. I'm going to play it this week. Maybe we should come back sometime soon and have a conversation about it next week.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I'll try and put some time into it as well.
On Game Pass, it's there.
Because I would really like to learn about this game and understand these two camps. Jessica being the main representative of the other camp.
It's interesting.
I'm the only representative of this camp. I feel very alone here.
I've seen some folks talking about not enjoying it as well. But Jess, I guess what I want to ask mostly is, do you think someone like in Grubb's position and my position that is not super familiar with any of Sam Barlow's other work, do you think there's something that Grubb and I and others could like latch onto and enjoy?
Absolutely. I feel like something that is unique about Sam Barlow's games is that they are the same game over and over again, and somehow people keep forgetting that they've already played this same game with these same tropes, and they are impressed over and over again because they are BAFTA bait. They are cool, a little edgy, a little sexy, and it's mature, and it makes you think, wow, games are art. It's very it's cheap in that way that for some reason I don't even know how it keeps happening. It's really did he make
honestly,
a deal with some sort of
big
eldritch creature to the monkey's
I
paw
feel that way
situation?
about a lot of big games, and I stay pretty quiet about it, but it's like I don't direct the ire at me. You on the other hand do a hot takeout about it, so or at least you have similar in the past. So it's like, okay, I could kind of see where the angle you're coming from. I've just never touched them, so I'm like excited to like get both sides, like Jan said.
Because
you'll enjoy it though, because if you haven't seen it before, it is impressive. But my beef is that I've seen it before over and over again. Right. I'm the only person recognizing that he keeps doing it over and over again.
Yeah, I think like where I get, I guess like just hearing the reasoning, I can almost like let it pass by, because I feel like that is just a common thing across multiple industries. If someone has like a signature, right? Like Wes Anderson is always going to have like his weird whip pans and flat lays.
And Kojima is always going to be Kojima. You know, like every auteur has their tropes, right? And if they, get caught in your craw, they get caught in your craw. And a lot of people, they just eat that shit up,
Yes.
And I realize that I am not only in the minority, but in a very strange little minority to care this much about.
No. Because at the same time, just like your fucking opinion, of course it fucking matters to this, right? Like just because group or like overwhelming population of the internet feels one way doesn't mean that you are at all wrong in this, right?
Makes you feel crazy though, don't it?
I don't like claymation, and folks get mad at me. And then I think,
but claymation isn't an auteur.
You're just being a dick, Jan. We know you're just doing it to get us mad.
Are you saying that because I like claymation, I'm an idiot?
Actually, that is what I'm saying. That's what I'm implying.
What the fuck?
I love that. What is that tweet? It's like, no, man, that's a whole new sentence. I didn't say that. Like,
but yeah, okay. We'll reconvene next week, and we'll talk some Immortality.
I plan on getting to the ending. I've heard that it's there's some sort of little gimmicky, tricky thing going on that I have
you play with a controller?
Not run into, or
I guess it's on Xbox. You probably can't play it on a controller, right? I was gonna play it on Steam Deck, but I think it has a touchscreen. So okay, I'll figure it out.
But yeah.
A follow-up question for you, Jess. Is there like a certain work of Sam Barlow, a game that he's worked on, that like you actually consider like is top tier, or you'd recommend after like Immortality, perhaps, if Grubb and I wind up liking it?
Telling Lies and Her Story. It's the same game as this, except the format is slightly. It's the same UI, but it looks different.
Okay.
That's how he keeps getting you. Slightly different UI, but the same damn mechanic.
Okay.
Yeah, Telling Lies. That's a good one.
Telling Lies. All right. Well, we tell no lies here on the Giant Bombcast. Right, Tony?
Her Story. I'm sorry, I just got it.
Yeah, Her Story. Yeah.
Wait.
People say Her Story's better, but that's why I'm recommending the worst one, chat. I'm recommending the one I think they'll dislike because I want them to be on my side. And I'm not recommending the
You are
good
stacking
ones.
the deck in a different way, Jess.
I love that. I love this. I love this move.
But before we get to what is game of the week this week, Grubb, Jess, y'all playing anything else? Revisiting anything else?
I got the Retroid Pocket 3. I think I talked about it somewhere. I can't remember now, but it is like a little Switch Lite. It's a little bit smaller than a Switch Lite. I've been messing around with it since last week. I put a lot more stuff on. I've been pretty happy with it. The issue in a post Steam Deck world with these little Chinese handhelds, which I love. I have a lot of them. I really do like these things. I think the Retroid Pocket 3 is fine for what it is. They had some like drama coming out of it. I'm not going to go over that. All that matters is it's pretty solid for what it is. In a post Steam Deck world, it is a little bit frustrating to have this community dedicated to making the Steam Deck as awesome as it possibly can be at the touch of a button. And then to get another one of these things and be like, oh, now I got to set this all up myself. And there was a time when tinkering with setting things up was part of the fun for me. I think that's like one of the joys of Animal Crossing is it's a game where you set stuff up. It's not about interacting with anything. It's about a game about setting stuff up. And there's such a pleasure in that. And a lot of people enjoy that with getting the ROMs all put in place and having every emulator set up exactly how they want. Make sure the controls are ready to go. So if they ever get the urge, a lot of times you don't, and that's fine because the pleasure is in setting it up. I'm over that. I want everything just to work and to be right there, ready to go. And maybe there's a way to do that with the Retroid Pocket 3. I haven't been able to find it. And maybe I'm sure there's a community. It's just not as robust as the Steam Deck community. So it makes these little things a little bit harder to be like, okay, yeah, they're more affordable, but I have a Steam Deck. Maybe I should just be sticking with that instead. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, this is one of those devices that I thought about picking up before my Steam Deck reservation got moved up. But speaking about the Steam Deck, I've been having an itch because of Sekiro Choa that I revisited Elden Ring on the Steam Deck. I really thought about starting fresh from the very beginning, just because it's been like a hot minute. But man, I was really high on Elden Ring at the beginning of the year, like everyone else. But after playing Sekiro, it's very, very hard to go back to Elden Ring, where a lot of the bones, the 12-foot skeletons are the same, right? Yes. There's just a couple of body parts that move differently, like getting used to there being fall damage now, and then having to worry about stamina. And I just wonder, like, if From Software did some type of revamp to Sekiro or just did Sekiro 2, I wonder how that would be received amongst the general gaming audience because of how well Elden Ring has sold.
Yeah, I mean, Elden Ring, the appeal there is they put you in a world and they let you go. And there's something so universally appealing about that. Like, they show you a big glowy thing over there. You're over here. There's a ton of cool stuff in between. And not just in between, but in every direction. That's very easy to understand, and obviously it clicked, and it worked very well for them. It's one of the key reasons why this game is so successful. Sekiro is not that game. Sekiro is about the fights and the mechanics, and getting in and out of combat when you need to, and sneaking around when you need to. And that game has its place. But maybe we're wrong. But maybe the Sekiro 2 comes out and it's just as huge of a success as Elden Ring. My gut here would be like, no. The reason so many games have gone open world is because that is the mass appealing genre, and it worked for Elden Ring just like it's worked for a lot of other games. And so I think that I expect them to do something like a Sekiro 2 or something along those lines here again. I don't expect it to be quite really in anywhere near as successful as Elden Ring, and that's okay. Hopefully that's okay. Right.
I don't know. I want to see George Railroad Martin's take on a samurai story. I'll let him do that.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Railroad.
Is that what we need?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's throw him in. Let's see what he can do with it.
Let's do it. Yeah. Oh, maybe they can get the other Jeff Grubb that got a job at whatever it was, ZeniMax Online. He's written a bunch of D&D stuff. Get him to do a one instead, so that people can bother me about that now.
But yeah, Jess, did you beat Elden Ring or like on the precipice?
So Chrono Trigger and Elden Ring, I both fell off of and got distracted by other things at the end. I only had 2 hours left of Chrono Trigger. And I probably could just go to the end of Elden Ring right now.
You're fine though. You played that much, you're fine. You understand it. You don't have to finish it.
I forgot. I'm rusty. I gotta relearn and get my
You'd have to go back out. You'd have to go back out in the world and right, exactly.
I gotta go kick some asses of some mid bosses or something so I can have a snowball's chance in hell of beating the Michaela or whoever.
I'll tell you what, you going back and beating that game at that position right now will have almost zero chance of affecting your opinion on it. maybe if you were to start it over again in a couple years and play it from scratch, maybe that could change your opinion. I don't know, but whatever you feel about it now is probably what you're going to feel about it, even if you were to finish it, because the game is about that journey to where you're at right now.
I loved it.
The key. Yeah,
I absolutely loved it. I just got like super, super, super distracted.
Yeah.
This happens to me a lot where I'm playing a game I do like a lot, and then it's just like, well, oops, I forgot to finish it.
No, it's like it's very, very busy times across the board here for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Things are cooking.
Yeah, I would like to just focus down and finish Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but there's too many things popping off.
I also just keep on starting new games and then not finishing those too.
Yeah, I feel really bad for Live Alive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna get back to it, and I really want to. But I think Elden Ring, like, I may just have to set aside a weekend and just focus down and get into that.
I mean, that's the kind of thing where it's like you dedicate a stream, like a marathon stream, to maybe Extra Life or something like that. I don't know if you already have another game in mind for that, but yeah, I mean, that's what Patrick's doing over at Waypoint. He's like, same thing happened to him. He fell off it because he had other things happening, and he's like, oh man, he was looking forward to it. So he's like, I'm going to do this over a couple of marathon streams, just play it for hours and hours at a time. I think Vinny did something similar over at Nextlander, and they both have been like, oh yeah, we fell right back into it and fell in love with it. So
what I find to be interesting is when I did fire it up on the Steam Deck, I was anticipating that I wouldn't have as much muscle memory loss because of playing Sekiro. It's so weird because I think I've gotten pretty okay at Sekiro through the short course of time of playing it. Elden Ring, for some reason, despite almost feeling the same, I am just starting at ground zero all over again.
Yeah, it's not close enough. I mean, and also the fact that like Elden Ring has leveling, so it invites you to doubt. Is your character strong enough to even be doing the thing you're trying to do? And that's like, that doubt can eat away at like the confidence to take on any battle in that game. So it's fine. It works because you're supposed to go out there and level. You're supposed to go out and explore the world. But yeah, it's not the same as Sekiro.
So that brings us, folks, to the Game of the Week, which is not a game at all. Well, I guess it's focusing on a game. But Jessica, you have been putting insane amounts of hours and time and editing. I love looking at Jess's timelines because they're so much more well organized than mine. God, I think I shared a premiere project with you once, and then you got upset with me that it was so disorganized and nothing was labeled.
No color coding. I was like, how do you know what's here? Like, this
Jess,
is
I know
insane
that
to
one
me.
is that layer because it's on that track. But Jess, you put out a hot takeouts yesterday, and I wanted, to have you on the Bombcast. Like, let's talk about it. I thought it was very well done, but that's like everything you put out. So I mean, not blowing smoke up your butt.
But yeah, Horizon is ugly, and here's why. People have been accusing me of making that a clickbait title, but I honestly did not intend to do that. I was just like, I like H Bomber Guy's videos so much, and I think his naming convention
is a strong title.
I think his naming convention is like funny.
Yes.
And like I never take his titles to heart because like I know it's like a joke to like be that hyperbolic about something.
Like Fallout 3 is garbage, and here's why. And I'm like, I like Fallout 3, and I want to hear about it. It's a strong title. It's definitely not clickbait. People just forget what clickbait is supposed to be. But yeah,
clickbait is like you're lying about something that's going to be in the thing, and it's like no, I talk about how
I'll even give people you're obscuring what you're going to put in there. Like you don't fully explain it. Sure, whatever, you can call that clickbait, but it's doing the thing that you're going to do in the video as the headline. That's fine.
Also, if it is clickbait, I don't care as Jess's manager. Get that engagement, girl.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, I'm pleased to report it is getting engagement. I don't believe it. It's the first actually spicy take of mine. The other ones were pretty lukewarm, pretty like here's something I like.
Sure,
that I think you should like too, and maybe it's like people have kind of not thought of it this way before, but this is how I think of it. Like the Mario Brothers movie should just be canon. Fuck it. Not only do I like it, I think it should just be canon. Like that's a hot take, but it's positive.
Sure.
You know, it's like, that's
sure.
a weird opinion, but it's not like gonna make people fight in the comments.
Right.
But saying Horizon is ugly, I knew this was a spicy opinion because it goes against the, you know, kind of accepted reality of a lot of people that this is kind of almost objectively very pretty. It's concept art, the game, like, you know.
That's what games should look like. Yeah.
Allegedly, yeah.
Like, this is like, where like all of games should be headed, and this is what all of them should look like, right? Trying to get like some type of homogenized, smooth, too many colors looking dealio.
If Nintendo could do this, they would, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like, would they though, or are they, you know, being clever about, you know, art direction and favoring that and playability over graphical fidelity? And like, it's kind of about how players interact with the environments, like how users interface with, not just, you know, games are a mixture of art and product. So like, from a product design perspective, you want the item to be functional in some way. Like, you understand how a can opener works just by looking at it, or do you? You know, depending on
not the like pop open kind. I don't know how to use those.
But you know, since it's also art, it's like it has to be like, you have to be able to take it in visually and understand how the art is leading you to interact with the product side of it. So I don't know. It's kind of like, you know, I've gotten a little criticism saying my thesis is kind of all over the place, but really, like, the through line is just like art direction matters, and here's a bunch of examples where they did something different and it works better or worse or this or that. And, you know, no shade intended, honestly, like, you know, in my heart at anybody who likes these games, you know, don't take it personally.
I think you put it in such good terms, though, because you put to words what I felt looking at it. Because I look at it and I was always just feeling like, oh, I get that this is technically really impressive. I am not being drawn in. I'm not going to think about why beyond this. But there are a lot of games that have much subtler like technical graphics, and but they use their colors really well, or they use them to inform me as a player, and they think really hard about that. And that's a lot of mobile games. It's a lot of stuff like Fortnite, where it's like they are using everything to accomplish something. And Horizon never feels like that is the goal. They are never trying to accomplish something with their use of colors, other than to show you how many colors they can use. And I think maybe that turns me off a little bit. Yeah,
like it's. I don't mean to throw out words like soulless, but there, you know, there is a little bit of like this. There's a vibe to Horizon to me that just kind of comes off like it was just made by committee. And how do we get this to look the most pretty, the most eye-catching, the most, if someone takes a screenshot of this at any second in the game, we could make a wallpaper out of that. You know, somebody could print that out. And
there's reasons to do that. Like, I think that is the Pepsi challenge, right? It is so sweet on the first sip that when you go to sip the other thing, you're like, oh no, this is better. It's sweeter. But when you actually drink a whole one of these things, the Coke always wins, because they're like, it's much more mellow. It tastes better over the long period of time. It's thinking harder about the combination of flavors to, again, accomplish something. I mean, I think that's exactly what is happening with this game.
Good, Jess, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, you know, like in the grand history as time passes by, right, and we are reflecting on this time in games, I can't say that I will remember much about Horizon other than how Aloy looked and like the robotish machines versus holding something like Jet Grind Radio, which I didn't even play. I just really liked the look and the aesthetic of it more so than anything else. And like, that is a specific art style that, like, you know, is very distinct and very super specific for that game. And, you know, the sequel, and then it is inspiring Bomb Rush. I forget what the rest of the title is.
Cyberpunk Bomb Rush? Cyberfunk Bomb Rush. I can't remember either.
Yeah, let's go with that. Cyberpunk Bomb Rush, whatever. And what I'm getting at is, like, I will remember that specifically, and I will remember an odd game that came out on the PS2, like Auto Modelista, because that was a cel-shaded driving game. And it's just like doing all these,
even like like even like a Ridge Racer, like those early PlayStation games that are trying to figure out early polygons, and just like something about that stuff sticks with me for so long. I think in general you're right that Horizon won't stick with me as much.
Yeah, it's also like a matter of like you know, and this was actually mentioned in the GDC 17 talk that I included little clips of in the video of the Breath of the Wild team talking about like bucking conventions of the open world genre and stuff like that. And the art director had a whole section talking about like why they went with that style for Breath of the Wild. And they were talking about how like everyone remembers the iconic look of Wind Waker, and Wind Waker still looks good, like because it is so stylized, but it also makes it easy to play because you can kind of fudge with like the physics and stuff like that, so everything feels really good. Meanwhile, you look at like I don't know, like not Skyward Sword, the other one with the wolf shit.
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess.
Yes.
You look at Twilight Princess, which is a little darker, a little more gritty, a little more realistic, and it's like that doesn't like stick out in your memory as well. Yeah. And like it also hampers a lot of the things that you can do in the game because it like when it's that realistic, you can't like kind of stretch the boundaries of how you interact with the game, like animation wise and physics wise and stuff like that. And yeah, like the cartoony look of Wind Waker is just like it's so clear, it's so clean, and it's aged so well. Like nobody wants, you know, graphical peach fuzz on that Link. You know, like a little fuzzy little peach.
Speak for yourself, sister.
I know. Now that I said it, I kind of want it. But I really, that was a really good GDC talk. Like, I should check that out.
You know, and I kind of think that way for like certain franchises that have, you know, numerous releases. Like, if you were to ask me point blank what I remember Resident Evil 6 looking like, I could not regurgitate that info to you.
Yeah.
You know, because like RE 1 through 5, I think I could definitely tell you. And then 7 and 8, I could totally tell you because those are very messed up looking games. But RE6 specifically was a product of the time that just looked like everything else, at least in my head, you know. All right.
Yeah, check out the HAWT Takeout.
Check out the HAWT
Engage
Takeout.
with it. Like it, share it.
Also,
say nice things,
I mean, disagree with it if you want, absolutely, but it's I think it was really well argued. Yeah.
There's been a lot of really interesting comments that have disagreed
and I agree.
And stuff, and it's like no, like fair stuff, and as long as you're well spoken and level headed about it, I'm not going to delete your comment.
Cool. Absolutely.
I will. No. But yeah, like, by all means, engage in the discourse and engage in it respectfully and don't be a dummy. And at the same time, before you make whatever argument you would like to make up, maybe finish the whole thing. Maybe.
Yeah, do me a favor and watch the whole fucking video before you comment.
But yes, fantastic job, Jess. As always. I think Backler and I might have an interesting assignment for you. For the next target.
I do have an idea in the hopper, but I'm not sure if I want to do that one or not.
This one may be easier to digest,
okay.
Perhaps. Anyway.
Digest? Is it about eating in games?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
I don't know anything about
it. But now it might be. Anyway, how do you feel if we take a quick bricky break?
Do it.
Good.
Fantastic. We'll see you folks on the other side. Bye. You know what's hot? Brands. And with Squarespace, I can do everything with my brand. My brand can remain strong. It can be flexible. It can become a store. We can start from just a website, but then let's claim a domain all using Squarespace. And once we've solidified that brand, I don't know, like branded hot dog holders. That's right. Jan is presenting branded hot dog holders to hold the glizzies to make sure they're all nice, soft, and toasty. That's right. And Squarespace can help me do all of that. It is an all-in-one platform, y'all. I can get the domain there. I can get the website there. We got all these tools of analytics to see how people are receiving and responding to my hot dog holders. You know what? The whole thing is just so dang easy to use, and with their world-class design, I can make
my dreams of a hot dog holder website, blog, e-commerce store all in one place thanks to Squarespace. You know what? I could start selling these right now. We could sell gift cards, so you can send your gift cards to friends that are hot dog enthusiasts and may need something to hold their hot dogs. Well, I gotcha, because Squarespace has got me. And buying a domain from Squarespace is easy as well. We could choose a .com, a .net. Maybe we could start a .org and start organizing other people that also want artisan hot dog holders. And you know what? Everyone uses Squarespace. Everyone from different industries, whether you're a restaurant owner, a jewelry designer, a wellness coach, or someone starting a artisan hot dog holder business like myself. And you know what? Squarespace has got me. I can just make a fantastic website with a couple of clicks. Everything is optimized for mobile. And you know, if I ever have any problems getting my artisan hot dog holder business up and running on this fantastic domain and website, Squarespace has 24/7 award-winning customer support. If you want to start your own artisan hot dog holder business or other website or whatever dream you got going on, head to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Hot dogs. You know, it's in best practice generally. If you get a flat tire, you should probably pull over to the side of the road and try and fix the flat tire. But sometimes if you can't fix it yourself, then well, you gotta go call someone to help you fix the flat tire. And sometimes that's what you gotta do to help make sure that you got a healthy brain going on. That's why there's BetterHelp Online Therapy. Sometimes you feel guilty pouring out your feelings to your significant other, your friends, or your family groups. You feel like you don't want to encumber them with your problems. But that's what therapy is for, y'all. Getting stuff off of your chest, contextualizing all of this stuff, and making sure that your brain, your mind is in tip-top shape. And that's why you should seek out a therapist instead of pouring your problems into the person helping you fix your flat tire. BetterHelp is online therapy. They offer phone calls, video calls, or even just live chat therapy sessions, so you never even have to see anyone on camera if you feel a little bit nervous or self-conscious about that. And it is exponentially much more affordable than in-person therapy. And if you need help, you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bombcast. That's betterhelp.com/bombcast.
Breaking news here. This is Janet Shoa reporting live. Is Janet Shoa reporting? No, I'm not far away. This is Janet
Shoa reporting live from the bottom of the well.
Oh my God, it's
down
an echo.
here.
It's too hot in San Francisco. It's not supposed to get like this. I don't know what to do. For audio listeners, you can't tell, but the video listeners, and I'm making eyes at them, I may have to periodically disrobe as we get through this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
whoa.
Boy.
We're going to play a little strip
Y'all
news, everybody,
looking-
with Janet Shoa.
You're looking a bit heat disheveled.
I
Gradually.
am.
Got one little, he's got one little bang that's out of place. You can tell.
It's,
He's hot.
oh, boy, it's very warm. And I don't have any solution to this other than to just drown myself in gaming news. Did it play? Oh, dang
No.
it. Other than gaming, wait for it, news. Gaming news. Switch of Grubb and friends. News.
Hello, everybody. Jess, you're here. Silent Hill is leaking again. What do we do? What do we do? I don't understand what we do. That's all right.
I haven't gotten to 3 yet. Don't do it.
Oh, it's the leakiest franchise in gaming history with no results ever.
Right, exactly. That's been the big problem, is that we've been hearing for years now that there's something happening, and it it like reached a bit of a pitch a couple of times where it's like, nope, something's definitely gonna happen, like maybe at this E3, and Konami's done stuff like, we're gonna announce big stuff at this E3, and then pulled out. We've seen leaks ourselves talking about like what those timelines originally looked like. They just evaporated, and now what has happened? More screenshots?
Yeah, so I just want to say, for context, I'm pretty sure the last Silent Hill game that came out was in 2012. I think.
Okay, so 10 full years ago.
Not even like a remake,
a decade,
or like a re-release of anything.
I think the HD collection came out the same time as Downpour, which was the last one, which I think was 2012. I'm not looking it up. Don't be mad at me in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's been nigh on 10 years if you don't count PT.
Right.
Which hurt us all very deeply in a way that the scars will not heal. But yeah, Silent Hill leaks again. There has been 3 images leaked from an alleged pitch document that Bloober team made for a remake of Silent Hill 2. Apparently, Konami was kind of shopping around, taking pitches from different developers and stuff like that. There has been rumors that there are 3 different projects in the works. Oh, this guy's back again.
Tony, get out of here.
Man, podcast listeners will have no idea. But you can see I'm not going to post his name but this, there's 3 new images, not new, because like I said, they're from a pitch document. So this is probably years ago. This is not what a final game would look like, but it appears to be Silent Hill 2 remake images from Bloober team. All 3 of these screenshots appear to be in Brookhaven Hospital, if I were to guess. There's the nurse and everything. And a couple of months ago, Bloober team was, they did put out the call for people to, they needed a combat person because they have not yet had any combat in their games. They've all been of the walking simulator type sort of genre with like some, interactions and stuff like that, but no combat.
Sure.
So them, calling out for some combat people was like, oh, what are they up to? That could be a Silent Hill thing.
Or they're just starting a kumite at the office.
Yeah, important. Yeah.
True. So yeah, I mean, that's what's going on. No idea how real this is. Silent Hill fans have been jerked this way and that for about 10 years now. People have made fake fan projects and passed it off as a real thing. There was, of course, the infamous Blue Box developer that I don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. It's a scam. That guy is a scam.
Yes.
This Hassan guy.
That is a joke.
Yeah, it was he was making Abandoned, which apparently is abandoned because there is no game.
They're never going to make any. They're never going to release a game. Yes.
No, absolutely no. It's a scam. That was purposefully he leaned into it pretending. I think he kind of leaned into like people were imagining he was Kojima and this was, a new Silent Hill.
It gave me a lot
Kojima.
of Tommy Wiseau energy without any of the good vibes that you get from watching a Tommy Wiseau movie.
Yeah. But Silent Hill fans have been hurt many, many times over the past couple of years. But Bloober team making a Silent Hill game would not be surprising in any way, shape, or form because Bloober team has been flirting with Silent Hill for a very long time.
They have a relationship with Konami, right? That is confirmed, right? Okay.
Yes. So Layers of Fear, which was like, I believe that could be called their breakout game. I don't know if they had any games before that. Layers of Fear was very heavily inspired by PT. And Bloober team also had Akira Yamaoka, who was the sound designer / composer for the series and also a producer on one of them. And he, Akira Yamaoka has been there since Silent Hill 1, like very, very, very long time on the series. They had him be on the OST for The Medium. And there was also quite a few references to Silent Hill 2 in The Medium. And the less I say about The Medium, the better. But
why Silent Hill 2 specifically, not just start at 1?
Because
money.
Money. Konami loves it. And also, Silent Hill 2 is like the gold standard of the series. We have never gotten over Silent Hill 2.
2 is like the one for Silent Hill folks. Oh,
yes, it is.
And like even beyond Silent Hill folks, it's the one that like people who haven't played Silent Hill, many of them have played Silent Hill 2 and enjoy it.
Yeah. Very, very seminal game. The influence
I need
of
folks to honor the name of Harry Vacation, god damn it.
But like the echoes of this game goes out through fucking time. So many people have been influenced by that game, and like it was just a huge, huge deal. And every single Silent Hill game that came after it has stood in the shadow of Silent Hill 2. You know, Silent Hill 3 was bad because it wasn't as good as Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 4, forever and ever into infinity. And the more Western the games got, the more they went to Western developers, the more we couldn't get away from, God, we want to recreate what the magic was of Silent Hill 2. Nobody could figure it out. Just some sort of lightning struck, kismet sort of thing happened, and we got a beautiful accident that is Silent Hill 2. So the fact that a Western, no, it's not Western technically. I mean, what counts as the West, Jeff Grubb, technically? It's not just America, is it?
No, it includes Western Europe as well, and honestly, most of Europe at this point. So yeah. I would count it as a mostly East. If you're like, where's it at exactly? What country is Bloober Team in?
Oh, this is Norway?
Ohio.
Oh, Norway? Ohio. All right, yeah. Well, yeah, then that's not the Western world. That's something special, something different.
I want to say Norway.
Yeah.
Or one of the other ones that's really Nordic.
That would count, especially relative for a working with a Japanese publisher and stuff like that. That would count as like
Polish.
a Western studio sort of taking this on. Okay.
They're Polish. My bad. Poland.
We're on the border, but close enough. Yes. Western. Yeah.
But yeah, we've got another, let's say, non-Japanese, if you want to be like weird about it.
Sure.
Developer. Because Silent Hill fans are weird and they think any non-Japanese person that makes a Silent Hill game is doing it wrong. Okay.
Did Sam Barlow make a Silent Hill game?
He wrote Silent Hill Origins and Silent Hill Shattered Memories.
Is this where the beef started, Jess?
That is the origin of the beef. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
I'm so sorry. It's part of. It's all wrapped up.
This was gonna be the next game you recommend from him, huh?
But that's where I became aware of Sam Barlow, and then I kind of looked into his other stuff, wanted to know where he was coming from, and I was like, man, oof. Anyway, but yeah, so we've got a Polish studio making a Silent Hill game, probably, and we're not happy. Well, Silent Hill fans are never happy. Let's get that out of the way first.
I'm glad you stated that first. Important.
Yes.
Much like wrestling fans.
All right.
Very importantly, we're never happy. There is no possible golden standard that can ever be reached at this point. It's just, Silent Hill 2 has
there's
been
no going
canonized.
home for Silent Hill. The franchise, the fans, there's no going home. Like, there is only maybe new highs for now. Maybe they figure it out, but it doesn't feel like that's on the horizon. Now, this remake from Bloober Team does seem like it is the next big thing coming out, but it also doesn't seem like the only thing that's happening, at least as far as some of the leaks have said. VGC, and I trust their reporting, it goes in line with some of the stuff I've heard, that there's multiple games in the works, and this is the start of a big, I guess, blowout for Silent Hill coming back, and it could involve TV shows and movies, but it definitely involves multiple game projects, including this remake, but also a Silent Hill 5. Silent Hill 5 not necessarily going to be a Bloober Team. Does that help, or at this point it's like you still aren't getting your hopes up for anything?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Bloober Team in charge of the remake of Silent Hill 2 is the worst case scenario for who to handle a Silent Hill 2 remake, because they're gonna change stuff. Of course, you kind of have to kind of modernize when you do a whole ground up remake like this, and it's not just a remaster. But Bloober Team has very strange and somewhat cruel takes on mental health that has been present in a few of their games. Especially The Medium has a rather disgusting kind of final take on mental health, which is if someone's too far gone, they're better off dead.
Oh.
And it's bad. I mean, there is something to be said about different cultures standards for, you know, and opinions and takes on mental health. Different countries handle mental health differently and have, you know, different, you know, cultural opinions of that stuff. But fucking yeesh, man. I don't want Silent Hill 2, which was so empathetic and, you know, non-exploitative of mental health and trauma and grief, to be handled by a Bloober team who, like, also had a segment in the medium where a pedophile was humanized. You go back in time in his memory, and it's like, look, here's the reason why he's a fucked up guy. His dad was a drunk, and he was, oh my God, the Holocaust is involved. It's a mess and a half. And it's like,
boy.
I don't want them anywhere near this game.
Has Bloober team heard of a certain app called BetterHelp? Listeners to the Giant Bombcast can.
If, let's say, and I know this isn't realistic because Konami doesn't necessarily feel like the strong leadership type right now, but let's say that they had a firm hand above them saying you can change mechanics, you can change lighting, you can make things look more dramatic, and you can amp certain elements up, but you cannot change the fundamental lore or content of the game. Would that help in your anticipation of this game? It
would help, absolutely, but it's like,
seems unlikely.
I don't see them doing that. You know, and I don't think Konami knows what made Silent Hill 2 good.
Oh, definitely
or,
not. Definitely
you know,
not.
revolutionary in any way.
Yeah.
There was a leaked, you know, pitch document that these were on, but I believe that was, the document was fake, but the screenshots were real or something like that. But it was very, I don't know, really kind of slapdash looking. And part of the pitch was that there was going to be new puzzles that tie into the game's themes. Please don't. As if the Hangman puzzle was not good enough. But 2 whole new endings never before seen. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Please don't. I hope that's not real.
Huh.
It seems unnecessary and potentially, like a pitfall for them to fall into.
Yeah.
We will probably start hearing about these things here pretty soon.
You think Tokyo Game Show, perhaps?
It seems like it could happen even before on its own, and maybe we hear more at Tokyo Game Show. But that's the word going around, and that's been stated publicly by one person, which is why I'm repeating it. But I've also heard that same thing privately. Now, I don't think that's necessarily from, like, that means there's 2 sources. I could be getting it from a similar angle. So. But yeah, I think we might be hearing about it soon. We'll see. I can't confirm that, but we'll see.
Can I pose a question here real quick before we move on?
Let's do it. Yeah, please.
What if one of those Silent Hill games is just PT?
Never happened.
I mean, they should do it though.
Realistically, it could never happen, correct? Unless they fix that bridge with Kojima. But Kojima's like starting a podcast soon. He's not going to have the time.
He's too busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, best case scenario, since this is the worst case scenario for Silent Hill 2, probably, unless you gave it to like somebody really weird to develop it. I would love, my dream developer for a Silent Hill game, probably Frictional.
Frictional, what if they
Amnesia.
Oh.
Right. Okay.
And,
yeah. Totally. That makes sense.
I really liked Amnesia Rebirth. That was a really, really good game. The horror was great. The characters were great. The themes were great. It was cool as hell.
Ooh.
So I would trust them.
As someone that's only played 2 Silent Hill games so far, I think they should give it, dream fantasy here. Give it to the studio that makes A Plague Tale. And just give me all them rats.
Sure, yeah. Sobo Studio, yeah.
But just make them not rats and just all freaky,
they
bendy
also make
nurses.
Flight Simulator, so a Flight Simulator Silent Hill game.
Yeah, let's do it.
Silent Hill on a plane. Do it.
All fog, all the time.
I'm sick of these motherfucking nurses on this motherfucking plane.
I think that they are clearly looking to the success of Resident Evil and the reboots and the remakes over there, and they're like, we need to be doing the same thing. And
Us
I think
Silent Hill fans are looking with jealousy in our hearts at all the Resident Evil fans. Why can't that be us?
And it could work, right? Like, it could work if that does work with like something like a Silent Hill 2 remake, which obviously a lot of problems with that project for it to like overcome. But if it does work and they find themselves with a rejuvenated Silent Hill franchise, I think then the obvious thing is then to copy the modern Resident Evils as well with the first person, that thing that copied PT, and go back and do it yourself and have these two things where you're remaking old Silent Hills and you're releasing new first person Silent Hills. I mean, hopefully they get to that point. For your sake, I hope it's all great. We'll find out. We'll begin finding out hopefully very soon, and it probably won't be.
I'm crossing my fingers for you, Jess, and your people.
Please end my pain.
All right, let's get through some of these other news stories, and we'll wrap back around to that other thing we were going to talk about. Microsoft will keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for several more years beyond existing deals. This seemed to be this was a letter that Phil Spencer, who is the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, confirmed to The Verge existed, that he wrote in January, where he told Jim Ryan, hey, we're not just going to honor the deal that we already have. We are going to promise to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for years after that. Now, he's not saying in perpetuity, because that's a really tough thing to say. You're not going to be like, in the year 2089, we are promising to put Call of Duty on PlayStation, because what does that look like? And like, what if someone tries to like hold them to that? But he's saying, for the foreseeable future, we are not going to disrupt Call of Duty on PlayStation as it's been known. And it seems like this reveal that the letter existed was well timed to go alongside what we talked about last week, or maybe at Game Mess Morning, about the FTC equivalent in the UK that said they are going to ramp up their investigation of this deal and said, hey, we have concerns about competition. If Call of Duty is going to remain on PlayStation, that will probably take a lot of wind out of the sails of that investigation.
Most definitely, yeah.
And I think that that's what the goal is here. I'll say that, this is not me cheerleading for anything here. I'll just say this is the reality. Microsoft is very good at this diplomacy part of business, especially after what happened with like Netscape and stuff in the late 90s and early 2000s. They learned how to work with governments and get a lot of politicians on their side. So to the point where you hear, oh, we're going to bring Silicon Valley in front of Congress. Excuse me, I just punched my microphone. We're going to bring them in front of Congress. They're always talking about Twitter and Facebook and Apple and all these other companies, and Microsoft rarely comes up in that conversation. So I think they are like leveraging what they've learned to force this deal to go through. And maybe in a place like the UK, where PlayStation does have a lot of power, a lot of their executives are from there, maybe they're trying to like fight back a little bit, but it still kind of feels inevitable. I don't know. With a deal like this big, it's hard to parse exactly like what it could change. To me, that makes me think that's why regulators could be like, we don't want to put ourselves in between this thing and pick winners and losers. But who knows? Do you guys think there's a chance that one of these regulators could still derail this deal?
Not at all. At this point, no. I feel like Microsoft has picked up too much steam with this, and has everything at least on paper and played their cards of like, no, we're not gonna try and mess with the bag for Sony, so we're just gonna let Sony fumble the bag on their own terms. And I think we talked about this on Game S Mornings, but I feel like I would not see the same amount of grace, or let's just say diplomacy, if the roles were reversed here. I feel like I could see Sony say, like, if they bought Capcom, I could see them blocking Street Fighter from ever coming out on any Microsoft platform again. Like, sure, they play ball with Steam, let Street Fighter 6 come out on Steam, but if Sony owned Capcom or Square even, I feel like we would never see a Final Fantasy product on an Xbox.
Yeah, and Microsoft has said they are going to keep many of the Bethesda games exclusive to Xbox, so they are doing that same thing at the same time. Maybe they're saying Call of Duty so big that it is in another tier and needs to be treated differently, which is probably true. It's probably true for Call of Duty and maybe a handful of other things that are at Activision. Still, though, even if this deal does get derailed, it's not. There's a very little chance that it doesn't also go through just with concessions, and that'll probably. Yeah. That's what they'll do, and they'll do with the concessions they do to get most of the deal to go through.
But like, Call of Duty is not the big like ticket here for Microsoft, right? Like, at all.
It's like number 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, this is like a consolation prize. So if they have to make considerations and like, in perpetuity, Call of Duty has to also release on Sony platforms or wherever else, whatever platforms we'll have in the future. I think they're more than willing to bite the bullet there because of what else they're getting, especially with Bethesda in their back pocket, especially with all the mobile stuff in their pocket.
Yep. Yeah, getting King is going to be huge for them, and that's going to be key to this deal for Microsoft, regardless whatever else happens with it. Let's see. Xbox Studios boss Matt Booty explains why Fable has been missing. Here's a quick quote from him. He said, "Part of my job is giving air cover to the team," and he's referring to enabling them to continue to work while batting off questions about where is the game or when are we going to see it. He's supposed to stand between the teams and that stuff, and he has been. He says they don't want to show early before it's ready to go. But if there's one game where the kinds of where that's kind of flipped around, where every time I see something I say we should show this, it's Fable, because there's a lot of cool stuff. He said, Playground, the developer of the game, has made it very clear that I'm not going to be able to show it until they think everything is ready. So, it sounds like it's shaping up in a way that everyone's really impressed with over there. And of course, that's their job to say that. But that's why we haven't seen it, is because the team working on it has said no. And that's nice to hear that a team has that power. I think it's probably the way it should be.
Yeah, I think it's nice that the studio can actually create this demand and be like, hey, you know what? We're not going to show it. We're not going to talk about it until we feel comfortable talking about it. Because then, you avoid all these media snafus where we're constantly making jokes about Halo Infinite being delayed or the lack, PT disappearing, right? It's always going to be one of those what ifs versus just not talking about Fable.
Exactly. I'm wondering, I'm going through the mental list where I'm trying to think of what is the next big game from Microsoft that we hear after the current crop. So we have Redfall and Starfield coming up for sure in the next 8 to 12 months or whatever. And then after that, we don't really necessarily know. There is Forza Motorsport for sure. That's probably coming though in the first half of next year. So then what's in the second half? And it's it's probably what's that game? The one about mental health where you plays the lady that has voices in her head. I can't remember the name
Eternal
of it.
Eternal Darkness.
Oh, Senua.
Yeah, Senua's Sacrifice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hellblade. Thank you. That will be one of them probably, and then I think after that, Fable might be next up. Maybe something like Perfect Dark in 2024, early 2024. But a couple of these games probably should be ready for the later half of next year, and Fable could be one of them.
Yeah, I don't.
Last of Us. Oh, go ahead. No, please, Jim.
Oh, sorry. The last thing I want to bring up about that is do you see them trying to position Halo Infinite? And once that co-op campaign mode gets up and running and is something they could put out, is that another tentpole that they just make another big deal about again?
I don't think so. I think they try to take the pressure off that team and say Halo is just going to be over here in its own little cone of sadness mostly. and it's just if you could build it back up, great. If not, we have other games coming. And yeah, I think there's a strong chance that they do get some excitement back for Halo in the future, but it seems pretty far off right now. Listen, I'm ready to play that game co-op. I love that campaign. I don't really care that it turned into a linear Halo game at the end. The open world was so much fun for me. And I think there's a lot of possibility for fun stuff with another person or 3 other people shooting grappling hooks at these 1,800-pound soldiers. That sounds like a good time to me. But it's not something they can hang their hats on as a big release for them when the competition is putting out game after the year, game of the year contender after game of the year contender. It's just doesn't look good.
Halo Infinite is a better Donkey Kong game because you can also throw barrels in this.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. You're finally playing. Master Chief is the real Donkey Kong.
There you go.
You got it, Jam.
That's what's underneath the helmet.
The Last of Us Part 1 leads wave of new releases. This comes from gamesindustry.biz, where they track the UK boxed chart sales. So these are the physical sales. The Last of Us Part 1 was number 1, but it sold around half the number of copies that Saints Row managed when it debuted number 1 last week. Now, that said, and this comes from GI Biz, it's worth noting Volition's reboot launched on a Tuesday, while The Last of Us took place, released on a more traditional Friday. And this is only accounting for physical sales, and I believe The Last of Us Part 1 is just PS5, right? So it's not even on PS4. And like, of course, Saints Row is also on Xbox, and so like, you know, being a multi-platform release definitely helped. But still, I think that a part of this is just Saints Row, a new game, The Last of Us Part 1, a known quantity, so maybe the urgency isn't there as much for a Part 1. Still, though, number 1 on the charts, followed by Horizon Forbidden West at number 2, which I wonder if that includes the pack, because I know the Horizon Forbidden West is packed in with a lot of consoles, but I don't know if it counts that. I'm assuming it must count that.
It jumped up the charts because of Jess's hot takeouts. Everyone needed to go see for themselves.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
You're welcome, Sony.
Yeah, you gotta pay to see for yourself. Absolutely. We should get a cut of that, I think. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection at number 3, and then F1 Manager 2022 at number 4. Do either of you have any interest in a sports management sim game? I the idea of it appeals to me, but I think it would take so much of my time to even know if I even like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like fantasy football is the extent of any type of sports sim that I'd get into.
Yeah, so I think my draft is today. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Get ready to have your mood determined by a random grouping of dudes that you've put together for the next 4 months.
It's no different than when I get sad that a sports team lost, because that's a random group of dudes that someone else put together. It's like, it's even more irrational. Why do I care? Jan, why do I care?
I don't know. I'm stuck with a quarterback that's handsome but useless.
Name names.
He's like Jess. Jimmy Garoppolo is the most himbo. He's the most himbo person in the world.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
With a P. Yeah, even it's got that hard.
Exactly right.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. For audio listeners, her eyes bugged out of her head. So
that's a handsome boy.
Yeah, you know, like in cartoons, when like cartoon characters float when they smell pie. Yeah. Jess is floating in the sky right now. It's kind of unnerving.
Pie.
I float when I see this guy. Wow.
Incredible.
And Jess, he's Italian.
I know from the last name, but
I don't know.
Mamma Mia.
Ooh, the Catholic agenda strikes again.
We'll get married traditionally to this man.
Saints Row saw an 80% drop in sales compared to last week. It falls to number 6. The Last of Us Part 1 was the biggest launch out of the 5 as the industry's output ramps up into the run-up to Christmas. Also debuting this week was Konami's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know, listen, it came out funky. I can't help it. I used to say Sunny instead of Sony, and my friends got so mad at me. I had to learn.
Oh my God.
I had to learn. Yeah. And then THQ Nordic's Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed was at number 16. And then Bandai Namco's Lego Brawls was at number 30. I see that game just came out on, let's see, what is it? This is the 2nd of September. I still have no idea what Lego Brawls actually is.
Brawls.
Is it just a platform fighter?
It's a platform fighter that was on mobile before.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's why no one cares about it. Fair enough. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles plans for 2023 include a new AAA game release. This comes from Rory Young at Game Rant. The announcement, if it can be called that, is found in the September issue of Toy World. In an official update from Paramount, the owner of Nickelodeon and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license, there are big plans for TMNT in 2023. Those plans include a brand new AAA video game to be released. It won't just be a new announcement, but the new TMNT game is tentatively planned to launch next year. I mean, that's all they said about it. I'm kind of like, I feel if this is how they're announcing it, how big of a game can it be? Is it even going to be as big as that Platinum game? Now, it probably should have a pretty big game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games have been doing very well. The Cowabunga collection being on number 3 on the UK box sales chart is really, really high for a collection of old games, many of which are sort of punishing and obtuse at this point. But the brand is that powerful right now. So, yeah, it makes sense. But I don't know. Do you have any high hopes for this?
I don't know what a AAA TMNT game would look like.
Right.
I feel like they did so well with the Platinum joint that they should just do more of that, perhaps. I don't know. I guess I start thinking of something like the Arkham Asylum games and just adapting the turtles to that. There's the Gotham Knights game that's coming out, and there's supposed to be 4 playable characters, right? So you could have 4 different turtles. Perhaps.
Chat is saying give it to, and I'm going to say it with a very American accent, Ryu ga Gotoku Studios. So make it like a Yakuza. There you go.
Dude,
Got, like, Yakuza 7 had like that party that was you could make that the turtles. That would work.
Yeah.
Man, it's turn-based. I guess no one would like that, but I would.
I would like that. Also, there's a Seth Rogen Turtles movie in production, and it's like coming out next year. So maybe this is part with that.
I bet it is. That's probably has high hopes for that. So they probably are going to try to tie something to it. I guess we'll find out more at some point between now and then.
Sorry. I'm so sorry for constantly interrupting you, Jeff Grubb.
No, please, it's not a problem. I'm just like trying to keep the flow going. I want to hear what you have to say. Hit me with it, Jan.
I feel like turn-based combat would work best because turtles move slowly anyway.
Oh, okay. No, that was worth it. That was worth it. I'm glad you did it, Jen.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank
you. Yeah. And then they have to fight against the hare, and the hare is not turn-based. It can like just attack, but it's like it gets worn out or something.
No,
like
they're
that.
friends with a rabbit. They're friends with a rabbit.
Ever had a antagonist that's a rabbit?
No, Yojimbo is their homie.
Jimbo was what's his full name? Yojimbo Hare? Is it just Yojimbo Hare?
Yojimbo O'Brien, actually. It's a fun little coincidence.
Oh, it's my uncle.
Yeah.
Oh. Virtuos expands with opening of first full service studio in North America. This is just a small story, and I just wanted to bring it up because Virtuos is one of the ones where we'll get to it. Virtuos has continued its global expansion with the opening of Calipite, a new co-development studio in North America. I'm struggling with this one, fellas. The work-for-hire company, which has worked on major franchises like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, said Calipite will be its first full-service studio in North America. The nascent outfit will cover all aspects of game production, including art, design, and engineering. It's based in the Bay Area, so they can more easily work with other studios there, but it also has a flexible working environment, so if you want to work for there while working from home or anywhere else, I guess, in the country or in the world, I suppose, you can also do that. But they're going to have a core staff in the Bay Area that can go and like meet with these other studios. That's cool. Virtuos is the team that is rumored to be working on a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, I believe. At least one of those.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, hey, grow so you could do more of that so that can happen faster. I'm like, I know they've worked on stuff like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, so but I'm not sure if they've like just handled a full remake like something like that before. But hey, I guess I'm willing to see it. They should do more stuff with Metal Gear Solid, right?
Oh, wholeheartedly. I would play through 3 all over again.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, it is weird. Like it's Silent Hill 2. Metal Gear Solid 3. They're going to do remasters of 1, 2, and 3 again just to put those back out because they've been delisted. But when they're going to remakes, it's like, oh, they're going to remake 3. And I guess it's because they already did Twin Snakes on GameCube. I guess I don't fully understand the thinking.
Which rules because it added more backflips.
Yes, exactly. I might hit my swear button instead. But yeah, back. Yeah, there we go.
Whoa, Snake.
Whoa, Jimmy G. Ay.
Woo. But yeah, I mean, this is, I guess we'll see what Virtuos is capable of. But in the meantime, they are growing and can take on more work, and we'll see if that leads to even more remakes or just more work for hire stuff on other games. This was a fun one. Callisto Protocol director walks back on comments appearing to promote crunch. Striking Distance Studios CEO and the Callisto Protocol director Glenn Schofield posted and then deleted a tweet that appeared to glorify development crunch before later walking back on his comments. In a now deleted tweet, Schofield said, "I only talk about the game during an event. We are working 6 to 7 days a week. Nobody's forcing us. Exhaustion, tired, COVID, but we're working. Bugs, glitches." He continued, "Perf fixes, one last pass through audio, 12 to 15 hour days. This is gaming, hard work, lunch, dinner, working. You do it because you love it." This received backlash. You might be surprised to hear.
This on Labor Day weekend. The worst time to make this tweet.
Now, this is maybe, it really is an illustration of the problem, right? Because this is someone who is doing it because he loves it, but he's also in charge of the studio. And if he makes it sound like this is gaming, this is what working on games is, and you work for him, do you honestly feel like you have a choice to work on it in any way but what he just described there?
Not quite.
Right?
No.
You don't have a choice. I'm not. I'm always hesitant about this because I've worked late at jobs on sprints to the finish line. Right? Those are when you see the end of the project and you have the momentum and you want to maintain the momentum. And sprinting towards the finish line, I'm stealing that term from Michael Futter, who does a couple of podcasts, and he's like, it's the difference between sprinting and crunch culture. And if you are sprinting toward the finish line, I get it, and maybe there should be space made for that. If you are creating a culture, though, where crunch is expected for long periods of time and people feel like they don't have a choice, that is the issue. And what he's clearly describing there is that. So he walked it back, and he later posted, "Anyone who knows me knows how passionate I am about the people I work with. Earlier, I tweeted how proud I was of the effort and hours the team was putting in. That was wrong. We value passion and creativity, not long hours. I'm sorry to the team for coming across like this." And what else could he say? But yeah, I think that's, people should just really be like focused on like what's the outcome, not the input. That's where I'm at. And hopefully that's something that the team can still get over there. What do you think, Jen?
You know what? At least that is a boss that is taking a stance and saying something, and apologizing that even if they're framing it as like, oh, I got misconstrued, sorry, at least walking back on it almost, not immediately, but soon after saying all this. But you're right, though, when, if the boss sets a precedent for the tone, it kind of, I don't want to say forces, but strongly urges the rest of the team to also do the same. The classic saying goes, boss gets hard, I gotta get hard, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. That's
HR.
what we always say here, unfortunately. Yeah.
I like that, as someone in the chat pointed out, nobody is forcing us, says the executive with the power to fire people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody's forcing. You're the guy that is setting the precedent.
Subtle coercion is like something that I'm surprised that, I guess I'm not surprised people get into positions of power and don't understand their power fully all the time. It's just frustrating to see it repeated over and over, even as people slowly try to explain that your subtle coercion and the power dynamics are real, and you need to recognize that if you're going to take that position of power. And I do believe Glenn Schofield when he says that this comes from a place of passion for him. He just needs to recognize what his words, the effect they can have, and really anything else that he might be doing in the studio to make people feel like they don't have a choice. Then it's a problem for sure, and it's more of a problem if it happens over long periods of time and to the point where it's like months and months of crunch. And this is a problem the industries continue to deal with. But I don't know. Do when you guys read something like this, is like, do you feel like things have gotten better in the industry, and like because people were really quick to shout it down, or do you think like at most studios it probably is still the same old crunch culture?
I mean, they're shutting down the statement, but are they actually shutting down any of like the culture, the behavior, or like the ethos at the studio? Right?
Yeah, it's easy to just walk back oopsie doodles like this, where you accidentally, said the thing you shouldn't say. But yeah, like actionable, results and so I don't know. That's hard apparently, but it's hard because the gaming industry is not unionized like at all, basically, except for little tiny handfuls of indie projects. So yeah.
And even like with smaller indie projects, right? Like you can't stop a small team of maybe like less than 20 folks from like wanting to grind it out to get to cross the finish line there, or if it's a single dev, right?
I mean, we work hard here, and there's times when we work late, and there's times when we crunch on projects. The thing I hear the most from Jan is, take it easy, go home, we're done. Okay? Like that is the mantra from someone at the top here. Like, take care of yourself. Go home, enjoy your weekend. like when you hear that stuff, it's like, okay, it is a permissible environment to have a life. When you don't hear that, and in fact, you begin to hear the opposite. Or if Jan was talking constantly about how proud he was of working late, which he does, he works late all the time. If that's what he talked about and the point of pride he took, that would make me feel different about things, and I would be struggling with those feelings, and that's what we're talking about here is taking responsibility for your own work habits and other people's around you, especially if you have any position of power. And it's a difficult thing, but it's a manageable thing. And it's something that should be expected. And that's kind of all we're really asking is we're not asking people not to work hard. I get that people think that that's what the argument against crunch is. It's like, well, this is America and we want to work hard. No, we're asking you to take responsibility for what 100%. Your work environment is. And if you do that, that's the first hardest step, and it'll make the biggest difference in the long run.
Totally. Yeah. Stop talking about unlimited PTO and just let people take PTO. You know,
right, and or encourage them and maybe sometimes force them and help them figure out when they should be taking it, so that they don't feel like, oh, you're just saying that. No, we mean it, and here's how we're going to demonstrate that.
Health is wealth,
the only negative thing on my peer review was that Jess works outside of work hours too much, and she needs to fucking cut that shit out.
Yeah, you should, like at the coffee shop, how I used to tell people to take their break was to just get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, and that feels so good. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Let me get back to where I was. Assassin's Creed, Mario plus Rabbids, and Skull and Bones to headline Ubisoft Forward, which is happening in about 4 days. That is one hell of a showcase right there. This week's Ubisoft. Yeah, go ahead. What does that make you feel?
My brain is broken because anytime I hear lineup, I automatically think of a music festival. So at first I had to like reassess what you said. I'm like, wait. Mario's gonna perform at like
Mario featuring Rabbids.
Wow, that's gonna be like
that's like by Skull and Bones.
Man, that's a black metal show I want to go to. What do you think the mosh pit is like at a Rabbids show?
Annoying.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, annoying with a lot of French people.
Now
that makes it a little bit more tolerable.
Now that's a Bad Bunny show.
Oh my good lord!
I'll go home.
Thank you, Jan.
Get the fuck out of my face.
This thing's happening in about 4 days on September 10th. It's let's see, updates on upcoming games like the ones I mentioned. We are very much expecting to see Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is the one that's been leaked 100 times by now. The one that takes Basim to the Middle East. We should also hear about Assassin's Creed Infinity, which is the live service version of Assassin's Creed that will follow up Mirage. And we will likely get two of the first like settings or modules in this. The first one being East Asia, most likely Japan, and then another spookier a European setting, not Eastern European, just a European setting. Spooky. I'm like, if we do find out about this, okay, if they don't confirm what it is at this thing, I'll just say it. So hopefully they'll just force their hand because it's very fun. But because I just want to tease it because it's like it's cool for them just to say it. Like, yeah, hey, no, we have the power here. Let's use it. I don't know. It's not that important. It's whatever. But it's a fun, cool little thing. So I'm excited for people to finally find out what that is. And then
you're a 12-foot skeleton in that game.
It's really hard to sneak around because you're a 12-foot tall skeleton in an Assassin's Creed game.
I'm not too far. That'd be awesome though if they gave you that power. That'd be cool. Hopefully, it all looks good. I don't know. I think out of all these, I might be most excited to play a new Mario plus Rabbids. Now that I think about it, I like that first game a lot. I'm ready for another one.
Yeah, I like that first one. It was not mindless gaming, but like I like XCOM style things, and we all know my love of tiles, and that was like an XCOM game that was not super stressful.
No, and it had like fun combos and stuff to make you feel really powerful. It's a good game. Let's see. Xbox Studio Boss says the days of single studio AAA games are long gone. This has a very specific point to it, but we'll just kind of go through the points that he touched on. He said during a Q&A at a PAX West panel over the weekend, and this him being Matt Booty, who is in charge of Xbox Studios. Now I want to pause there and give everyone a chance to giggle. Okay, so I'm going to say it again. We're going to get them all out. Matt Booty, Matt Booty, Matt Booty, Matt Booty, Matt Booty, Matt Booty, 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 Booty. Okay. I could have put it in the rundown.
No.
You own
You
it.
gotta own up to
own
it.
the booty.
It's not even spelled different. It's just booty.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm one of my favorite football players from the last couple of years is just Jake Butt, and I'm like, hell yeah, Jake Butt, and it's just spelled B-U-T-T. That's such a powerful name. You force people to deal with that every time you introduce them, and you don't blink. It's powerful. How we make games is evolving, says Booty. The idea of a single team under one roof really doesn't happen that often anymore. I'll use an example. Our Perfect Dark team down in Santa Monica, the Initiative. So we just did this big partnership with Crystal Dynamics, and I read online, oh, this must mean there's a problem or something. It's quite the opposite. You got this veteran team at Crystal Dynamics, a big AAA team with over 100 people that become available. Of course we want to work with them, particularly if they've made this kind of game before. So really, he's just saying that it's going to be very rare for a single studio to make a big game going forward. And as an example of that, we've done this, and it wasn't weird when we said the Initiative is going to work with Crystal Dynamics on Perfect Dark, which is something that a lot of people were like, that game must be in trouble because they're bringing in Crystal Dynamics. That was never true based on the reporting I was able to do. But yeah, we know this, right? Bigger games are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we look at the credits for something like Assassin's Creed and see 14 studios, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, it is a whole village, or sometimes a whole global effort to bring up a game.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what that Virtuos studio earlier, like they are providing exactly those kinds of services, and now they're doing it in the Bay Area, which is like one of the most expensive places to start a new studio. They're doing it because it's worth it to have people there, because that's how much these companies need help, that you can afford to open a new studio in the Bay Area because they are going to pay you a lot of money to help them finish their games. Let's see. Images. Oh, no, this is the Silent Hill 2 story. We already touched on that one. 1047 Games is ending active development of new content for Splitgate. Splitgate was a surprise success, which like going into Halo Infinite, a lot of people suddenly just started playing Splitgate while they were waiting for that. And for people that don't remember, Splitgate is basically Halo with portals, and it became very popular. A lot of people were playing it, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, let's hire up, and they brought on some like new team members, and then apparently after a few months, the problem was these new very talented team members were basically caught. And the way they described it as bailing water out of a ship that was sinking due to too much tech debt. Like they built it with a few people. Now they have more people, but those new people were dealing with the consequences of choices made way earlier in development. And so the plan is to essentially stop making new stuff for Splitgate and to shift to a new game in what is described as the Splitgate universe. They said they're going to make it an Unreal Engine 5. It will be a free-to-play shooter. Part of me is like a little bit surprised because it's like Splitgate was so successful that you just try to revive that. But I wonder if it's like it was like a flash in the pan success, and maybe launching a new one gives more people a chance to check back in on it while also giving them a chance to reset the clock, right?
Yeah, I fear that the Splitgate stuff might have been a flash in the pan, and then like there may not be a lot of name recognition if they were to come out with Splitgate 2 or Splitgate the Mindgate experience conspiracy. Something like that or whatever. I completely forgot about Splitgate. It took me a hot second to remember what you were talking about here.
I was thinking about Splitgate yesterday, day before, which is weird, but it was because I randomly decided to replay all of Portal 1 and some of Portal 2, and I was like, what happened to that game with this but guns? And there was like a lot of really cool clips of people doing crazy shit in that game, and then just like disappeared. Like, what came out right after it? Like Elden Ring or something? What took over? Like,
what ate its lunch? I think it was Halo, I believe.
Halo Infinite actually came out, yeah. Splitgate had been out for years. And
really?
Was it early access, or was it just in like it might have been early, it might have just been on PC, and then it went to console and got this huge second wind, and that was right before Halo Infinite was coming. It blew up. It's massive. It was a huge, and their servers couldn't keep up, and they had to put all this effort into like just fixing up the servers. And then Halo did come, and people were like, I'm very into Halo Infinite. I bet this is going to be a well-supported game for every week for the rest of my life. And well, that didn't happen. And now I think people are just kind of bummed out from that scene entirely. And it's not like, well, we'll go play Splitgate instead. They're like, whatever. I'm I'm kind of sad now when I play these games. Is how I feel about it anyhow. So
yeah.
That does it for the news I have. However, Jess, you did bring something about this Kiwifarms thing, and I was wondering if you could explain kind of what happened here to me as best you can, and we'll fill in the gaps as we go along.
So, crazy kind of historic sort of news. So, streamer Keffals was attacked by Kiwifarms, which is a doxing and stalking website. Where people, it's just a forum where horrific, ghoulish people go to try to drive people to kill themselves.
Is that really the point of the forum? Like, I'm legit asking. I'm like kind of unplugged from this stuff.
100%.
Wow, okay.
They want to sow chaos and cause tragedy. That is their sole fucking purpose. These are broken people that need to get fucked.
Grow up.
In every possible way.
We can only help.
So this was a website that was pretty easy to find. It was just it wasn't on the dark net or anything. It was just hosted by multiple different, over the years, their hosting has dropped them because this is a dangerous website full of horrific people that should probably be in jail for the things they have
ostensibly
done.
The argument would be to these hosting sites, this is your customer and you're going to take their money. What could be essentially blood money if it does result in any actual violence. And many of the hosts would respond in kind saying, oh, no, you're right. We won't take this money. We will take our business, or, we'll deny your business. And they would have to move on to a new host, right?
Yeah. So they'd have to shuffle around to new hosts constantly and stuff like that. Because, they can't run ads because who would, this is like a website that nobody wants and nobody wants to advertise on because it's just full of dangerous, disgusting people. And they are responsible directly for at least 3 deaths. Because they've harassed and stalked people to the point where they have killed themselves.
What is wrong with people? Jesus.
They're horrific, and they hate trans people. They hate autistic people. They hate disabled people. These are disenfranchised men mostly.
They hate themselves, right? They hate themselves, and they
hate
are
themselves,
hurting others because they need. Right? They are expressing.
They have no power in their lives, so they use the small amount of power they have to take down a peg people that are even worse off than them, minorities and mentally disabled or people with mental health struggles and stuff like that. They're really going after, And
in a lot of situations, like, you can't just call the cops because they hide behind free speech because it's technically legal up to a point. And then it's all
technically legal because all they're doing is discussing people.
Mm-hmm.
And all they're doing is gathering all of their freely available information online into one convenient place, like the lolcow wiki. I had a fucking lolcow wiki because I was mildly leftist online and I don't like JRPGs and dogs, and I said that, and that apparently is good enough to make a
I've
whole
said the
Wikipedia
same things,
thread.
and I don't think I have one, so I wonder if there's any reason for that there. Yeah.
I'm too hot.
No, that's bad. Well, we know that.
A whole ass thing listing every possible detail of me. They found out where I lived. They found all these old email addresses and stuff like that because it was publicly available information. Because guess what? As an artist, as a freelance artist back in the day, I had my resume online. Here's my resume. Here's my phone number. They found that shit and put it up on this Wikipedia page that had every bad thing I had ever done, along with a lot of fucking made up shit that was completely out of context, and was like,
surprise.
Well, here's all her information. Someone can do what they want with that information, and that's not our fault if they use it.
Exactly. And so it's like, so what do you do in that situation? Well, there are tools within the system of capitalism that we live in, and you put pressure on businesses to not work with them anymore. And that seems to be what finally happened here.
They've been trying to field lawyer
end.
Things. Lawyers have tried to go after them, but technically everything they're doing is not, there's no specific law against it. Therefore, it's fine, even if people die from it. They actually they fucked up and they went after someone who actually had a large following. Keffals has 50,000 followers on Twitch and 147K followers on Twitter, as of right now at least. But she's a trans streamer, and they doxed her, stalked her, swatted her. And then when she moved, because she got swatted, so she was in hiding, basically. She went to Belfast, Ireland to hide out with another friend. Happened to be at Ellen from now on Twitter, and she's the person that runs the have you seen Bilbo the cat on Twitter? So cute. The cutest cat. I love this cat.
Maybe I have.
I only know Bilbo, the best hobbit.
I know.
Yeah.
But Kiwifarms looked through Bilbo's photos of this cat, to see if there's any background images that they can use, and go to Google Maps, and they fucking found where she was in Belfast and was calling in SWATs and bomb threats and all sorts of shit. And Keffals was like, this is ridiculous. And she organized a activist campaign to make Cloudflare, their host, drop them entirely. And they actually weren't doing it for a while. And it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna keep up the pressure, drop Kiwifarms. These people are monsters, right? So after only 6 days, Cloudflare actually got pressured into dropping the hosting of this stalking website. And Cloudflare was very like, oh, this is free speech, you know, da-da-da, and all that stuff. But finally, because there was enough pressure put on them money-wise, they actually dropped them, pointing to, quote, an unprecedented emergency and immediate threat to human life, unlike we have previously seen from Kiwifarms or any other customer before.
Fuck off.
So, follow the money, baby. No matter how many lawyers, no matter how many, you know, how much human decency and human life, that doesn't matter. Money matters.
And you know, people are going to hear this and be like, "Oh my God, free speech is dead." And let's explain this. That is not what happened. You are allowed to pick up your phone and call anyone you want, and no, there's actually nothing anyone can really do about that. Really, anyone, like, you could try to stop you from having a phone. No one can really stop you from having a phone. We can't stop you from, in the same way, from having an internet connection and doing whatever you want with that. But as a business on the internet, we don't have to do business with you. That is different from free speech. You can have the same access to the internet, to any information system as you want, the phone, telephone. You have the right to have a printing press. No one can stop you from doing that. But if you want to come to me and to have me sell you ink, and I find out you're doing something I don't like with the ink, I am allowed to not do that with you. That is a completely different thing, and that is what's happened.
If you are a terrorist organization wanting to print stuff,
I'm not going to help you make your zine.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. And their DDoS guard dropped them less than 24 hours later, and that was a Russian site. So they're freaking out and crying like, oh, even Russia, oh, no free speech.
I did read the one thing. It's like the reports of Russia being a free country were a lie. I'm like, okay, buddy, wow, too bad.
Eat my ass from the front, Jesus.
So
this is a really big deal. This is.
It seems like they actually did fall apart, right? It actually does seem like it's offline right now.
It is, you know. At least it's off the clear web. If you want to find this site again, you have to go to the darkest corners of the internet to try to find where these cockroaches have kind of mingled together, the little remnants of what they were doing and what they had before, and, you know, cackling about how much they hate the Jews and stuff like that, like straight up evil stuff, right? So they've lost their ability to recruit more people easily. They've lost their ability to congregate easily, and that is a huge win for everybody that wants to live their lives in fucking peace.
Yeah. Hey, if you've listened to any of this story and are at all curious about diving deeper into the internet, don't go outside, touch corn, invest in your local communities or something. I don't know.
Only ever hang out with your friends online. That's about it.
Yo, have you been to the local farmers market recently? Check it out.
Man, we were going to go to that hot air balloon festival and it was raining, but you know what? We just hung out in the rain for a little bit and that was cool. Oh, so nice. Go outside.
Go find a friend to scissor or something. I don't know.
Yes, scissor your friends. Come on.
Jan, we can all get behind that.
Thank you, Daddy ass. Thank you so much.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
3-way scissoring.
I can't make that the title.
We already had a perfectly good title before.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a big deal. Everybody rest fucking easy now that those ghouls are going to have a hard time getting back to their ghoulish ways. So, hooray.
And if you want to just be the devil's advocate here, I'm probably just going to ban you from the site. So look out for that.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
All right. Fuck off. That does it for the news. I think, Jan, do you want to take it back over from here?
Yeah, I'll take it back over so we can take a break. And we'll come back with some emails, some questions from the Giant Bomb Discord. Yeah, see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
See ya.
You know, every morning I make myself a cup of coffee, good old cup of Joe, and I make one for my friend Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, how's it going?
But something I don't do every day is I don't always shave my face. But I just recently got the Harry's starter set, and let me tell you, this foaming shave gel is so foamy. I wound up spreading it across my whole face because it was so foamy, just a little spritz was able to cover my whole big face. And let me tell you, I smell amazing right now. And this razor, the handle on this bad boy, I feel like I can slice and dice in the most precise ways on my face. Not slicing my face, but shaving my face. You get what I mean. And I just came back from vacation, everybody. I didn't bring a razor. I didn't shave at all. And I literally just shaved right before recording this. And let me tell you, I feel so relaxed and I feel so clean right now. And you too, everybody. You and Joe over there.
Even me?
Can feel the same way because Harry's is giving their best offer to our listeners. First-time Harry's customers can redeem a starter set for just $3 at harrys.com/bomb. That includes a 5-blade cartridge, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. A 13 value for just $3. There's other razor companies out there that overcharge you for all this other fancy schmancy stuff that you don't need, but Harry's, they're just back to basics, buddy. They give you what you need. They prioritize simple, quality craftsmanship at a pretty dang fair price. This newly designed weighted handle feels good. It looks good. The 5 blades that we got going on are going to stay as sharp as you need them to past your first couple shaves. You get everything you need for this. And let me tell you, Harry's has the highest customer satisfaction in the shaving industry.
Wow, that's amazing.
And if you don't like the product, don't worry, it's on them. And they're still offering all of this at a no-risk trial. Yo, new look, same incredible offer. There's really never been a better time to give Harry's a try. Just go to harrys.com/bomb today to get your starter set for just $3. That's harrys.com/bomb.
Wow.
Yo, it can be super tough to find time during the day to prepare a meal and get some food in your system. Thankfully, Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery makes it super duper easy, y'all, to stay on top of my schedule and make sure I got lunch, I got snacks, and a dinner. In between recordings, streams, podcasts, while I'm even encoding, these have been a lifesaver. You know, my partner is also a teacher, and these have also helped her out tremendously when she needs lunch in a rush. Within 2 minutes, you can get your lunch or dinner ready with their ready-to-heat and eat meals that are fresh and never frozen. Factor offers 30+ meals per week and 30+ add-ons like juices, snacks, and my favorite, y'all, the smoothies to help get you from meal to meal and make sure you're feeling good throughout the day, because you gotta eat, buddy. You can always change up your order from week to week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week, or you can pause, you can reschedule them at any time. And Factor puts in the work in crafting these meals so you don't gotta worry about it. They're pre-prepared by their team of chefs and dietitians to make sure you can feel guilt-free from eating them. Yo, and if you have dietary preferences, Factor has also got you on that. They got vegan, vegetarian options. If you're trying to get swole, they got Protein Plus. And if you're dieting, they also have keto and calorie smart options as well. I cannot stress, y'all, I cannot stress how much I've enjoyed these smoothies as a smoothie enthusiast myself, a good smoothie boy. Y'all, if you want to be a smoothie enthusiast and eat some dang good meals, and if you just need, you know, some options just in case you get a little busy, head to go.factor75.com/bomb130 and use code BOMB130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. That's code BOMB130 at go.factor 75.com/bomb130 for $130 off.
Wait, breaking news yet again.
Beep, 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 beep. That's incredible. Good work. Yeah, Jason Schreier just confirmed it, so I guess I'll talk about it then. Witches. It's the Assassin's Creed is the other one that's going to have witches. It's actually going to take place, I guess, the Holy Roman Witch Trials, which could be more grim than spooky, I guess. But I hope they embrace it, because it's Assassin's Creed's MO, right? They're not afraid of like embracing the magic side of things, so I really hope they go in that direction. Yeah, and like fully have witchcraft be part of the mechanics in that game. To me, that sounds super exciting. I don't know, something about that really works. I think it's a good idea. I also hope that you just canonically can only play as a woman in there. I think that would be interesting too. Just like to be to really face these things down in a way that's not like, we're gonna let you pick your character. Like, no, write a strong story about what that was like. And yeah, I think that could be very cool. So we will almost certainly will hear about that at on Saturday. Is that, when is it, the 10th? Yeah,
Saturday.
Yeah, so we'll get that. We will get the Japanese setting, which is, these are the two major ones for Infinity, and then we'll hear about Mirage, which is coming out first. I think it's an exciting time for Assassin's Creed, because it also sounds like they're figuring out sort of a two-pronged approach, similar to what we talked about, like Capcom
two wrist blades.
Evil. Yes, two wrist blades. It's like, you have like one game that's very familiar and easier to produce, like the Resident Evil remakes.
Yeah,
that's kind of what like the Mirage is. It's like, it's an old style Assassin's Creed. We're taking DLC and making it into something bigger. Do something like that, and then on this other side have this big, sprawling live service game version of Assassin's Creed, whatever that looks like, but with very cool settings and different modules to keep different kinds of people coming back in and checking in on it at different times. That sounds like a concept that can really work. So I'm looking forward to see what it actually looks like.
Yeah, after a while, Odyssey, Valhalla just wasn't doing it for me, and just became kind of intimidating in terms of like open world games that I just miss running around on rooftops.
Yeah, I think one of them can like hit with you too. It's like, Odyssey worked for me. I don't need Valhalla. I played enough of Odyssey, or I still have a lot of stuff undone in Odyssey. So it's like, once one works for you, the other two that are just kind of like that but bigger and different in different directions become unnecessary. And so having some more variety in the way they approach Assassin's Creed is a good idea.
I hope the witch one is the one that clicks with me, because I haven't super clicked with any of the Assassin's Creeds in a way that I want to dump as many hours as they provide into it.
Sure.
And like I said, the whaling was my favorite part in Black Flag, but the rest I could do without, honestly. So maybe my interest in dark matters, the occult, maybe this is the one where it's like, like that's a topic I'm more interested in than like Greek and Roman mythology and pirate stuff, and so
yeah,
I'm hopeful.
I know nothing about the Roman witch trials, but here we are yet again on Giant Bomb, furthering the Catholic agenda. Let's talk about emails.
Did we ever talk
These
about
are the emails
where that joke came from?
I think we alluded a bit to it or whatever. Someone on Reddit thought there were so many Catholics, and that was it. Like, that was the whole joke, right?
Yeah, someone on Reddit was just like, is it just me, or why is there so much Catholic representation on Giant Bomb?
Finally,
like,
an underrepresented community can finally feel safe.
My family was Lutheran. I'm very, very atheist, but my family was Lutheran, so the exact antithesis to Catholicism over here. So there you go, everybody.
I am the reason why the Filet-O-Fish is still around.
You're the reason for the season, Jan.
There we go. That's right. You can send your emails to bombcast@giantbomb.com. First email comes from Albin. Hey, all from Sweden. Hope all of you are doing well. My question for you guys is, what is your all-time favorite biome in a game? Can you create a completely new, can you create a completely new biome? Also, what is your favorite game to play around Christmas? All the best, Albin.
I don't know.
I don't know if I think I like jungle biomes, I guess. Like those are fun in Minecraft because there's a bunch of odd stuff and I like all the trees.
Snow levels are always great for me. Anything with a lot of snow because I like the crunch of the foot going through the snow, and I like the possibility, the suggestion that I could be snowboarding. In a game like Breath of the Wild, it was just like straight up like, no, jump on your shield. You're snowboarding now, homie. I'm like, okay, great. That stuff really, really gets me. Absolutely.
I'm gonna, I feel like we're representing 3 different elements here. I was gonna say I like a lava level a lot. I think they're cool.
No, they're hot.
They're very hot. Damn it, Jan.
Yeah, bang. I think I like the colors of lava levels. A lot of I'm thinking about Lava Reef Zone in Sonic and how much that song is such a fucking bop. Like, ooh, some good shit.
Just, did you play Mario Odyssey?
Yes.
I forget. And Jan, you played Mario Odyssey?
Yes, sir.
Do you guys have a favorite favorite? It has the Luncheon Kingdom where you can swim in the cooking hot. Like soup or whatever it was, and I like that a lot. That's what I was saying. Like, do you guys have a favorite kingdom in that game? Because I think it probably is for me the Luncheon Kingdom with all the food and stuff, and it's very like pink and green food, so it's like kind of otherworldly. It's very fun.
I like the desert level in that because the sand is such a beautiful that really like gorgeous red color, and it's just like it's so vast, like it's so big and neat looking, like but it's like and you got that big ahegao in the center.
The little town in the middle. Yeah. Oh, wait, what?
No one typed that in any chat. You're going to get deleted for that.
I'm referencing giantbomb.com.
Yep. We are also one big ahegao in the middle.
For context, if nobody knows.
Where am I?
Nope. No context. Just moving on.
I like explaining things.
Christmas games. I don't think I have a specific game that I played during the holidays.
Me either.
Donkey Kong Country. Country. I played around Thanksgiving mostly, but also Christmas for sure.
I thought you were going to say Wave Race 64.
Well, that's every day, Jan. You know that by now. That's every day of the year, except for Christmas. With day of rest for Wave Race.
I don't play it on Christmas, but there is a Christmas game that I've Let's Played. The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge.
Of course.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So much Elfman, so much.
God, was that an okay game?
No.
Okay. All right.
It's like a Devil May Cry clone, but not like as good. But if you're a big fucking goth nerd like me, who grew up on that movie and knows all the fucking words to it, it's really faithful. Like it's great because it looks just like the thing.
Jess, we need to just take you to Disneyland so you can see the Haunted Mansion redecorated as Nightmare Before Christmas.
I would cry. I've wanted for years to see the Haunted Mansion
you little
decorated.
Nerd.
Oh my god! If I met Jack Skellington, the actor who has terrifying makeup. Have you ever seen the live actor for Jack Skellington?
No,
horrifying.
Wait, my daughter loves Misty Bones. Jack Skellington. Actually, they call him Jack or Pumpkin Jack. They call him Pumpkin Jack. That's right. And they love him, but yeah, okay. And the 3-year-old really loves him, and so it just me to put it on all the time. There was they did an emoji version of the movie. It's like 3 minutes long on Disney Plus, where they just like tell the story of the movie with emojis, and my kids love that. I know it's weird. Would my 3-year-old be frightened of the Pumpkin Jack Man?
Yes, I think so. Okay. Unless she's she's a bit of a weirdo. She might be cool with it. She likes lobsters and weird stuff, she might be cool with it.
Goth, absolutely. She likes creepy little things. So okay.
Yeah, if I met that Jack Skellington man, I would be fangirling out, man.
What if Jimmy G was the Skeleton Man?
You don't want to know.
Someone mentioned this in chat. Sorry, I didn't see your name, but I do kind of associate the holiday times with Game of the Year stuff. So,
right, yeah.
Before I started working here, I would just associate it with like, I got to play these games to understand the context of the arguments. But now during the holidays, I couldn't be any further away from video games because of Game of the Year. All right. Next email comes from Joe. That fancy new PS5 controller with the replaceable joystick modules is basically Sony admitting that stick drift is a problem. It's not Sony's fault though. The potential, I don't know.
Say it. Potentiometers?
The potentiometers.
Potentiometers.
Sure, that's a word. I don't believe them, Joe.
Yeah, me neither.
In joystick modules, just wear out over time and start to drift. It's a flaw in all joysticks in all controllers. So a controller that lets you fix the issue by replacing the joystick modules without a fuss is a great step forward. Except for the part where Sony's basically trying to profit off a problem instead of just fixing it. Having controller joysticks that don't need to be replaced in the first place would be a better solution. But nobody came up with a joystick that doesn't drift. Besides Sega in the 90s.
Uh-oh.
You know what controller joysticks don't drift and basically can't drift under normal use? The Dreamcast controller.
Huh.
Why? Because the
Why?
Dreamcast joystick uses Hall effect sensors. Hall
Named
effect
after
sensors.
Scott Hall.
Hell yeah. Hall effect sensors use magnetic fields to determine stick position, so there's no potential to develop drift.
Ooh.
8BitDo's new Bluetooth controller
I'm getting
out
this for this reason.
coming out in October is going to have Hall sensors in the sticks. So here's hoping the first party controllers follow suit. I'm sure Sony won't hesitate to sell you replacement stick modules with Hall sensors in them for their new controller, if that wasn't the plan all along.
I'm
from New
pretty
York.
sure it's the plan. This is a very interesting. It pieced together a few things. I was like aware the Dreamcast controllers didn't drift. I think someone did a video on it on YouTube. It got recommended to me. I haven't watched it yet. And I'm like, oh, it did use Hall effect sensors. So Hall effect sensors have been around for a long time. I am assuming they are just a couple pennies more expensive than whatever these companies are using, right? It's probably that simple. And so like, oh, that's added costs. And, you know, they work at first and maybe they wear down over time, but hey, you build in that sort of thing into all kinds of stuff because then you want to sell people more of these things down the line. So, this seems, it's frustrating. I hope that maybe if we keep being a little bit loud about stick drift, the Hall effect will just become the new norm and the new standard. That would be fantastic.
I just need them
Interesting.
to rename it to Scott Hall effect.
Yeah, Scott Hall's water magnets, damn it, effect.
I'm curious
from now on,
because this can't be that much more expensive than what they're currently doing, right? So like, was there just bad magnet PR in like the late 90s and 2000s?
You put it on top of your TV, your CRT TV, and it caused it to like warp or something. I did that as a kid.
Okay,
Not with a controller, but
Jess, you first, please.
I was going to say, so does this mean that second party controllers are now going to be the player 1 controller and the official controller will be the player 2 controller that you give to your friend because you don't want them to have a good controller?
I mean, very well could be. And with the 8BitDo, that's actually how it works for me right now. I would give someone the Nintendo official Pro controller for the Switch instead of an 8BitDo that doesn't even have the Hall effect, but especially if it had the Hall effect, because I really like the 8BitDo Pro controllers for Switch way better than the Nintendo ones. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you're onto something there.
How the tables have turned.
Yeah, how the turntables.
What were you going to say, Jan?
I completely don't remember. Just like any,
he was just going to say. He was going to say potentiometers again and again and again. Potentiometer, potentiometer.
I was helping my partner create her vocab quiz for her students. That is a word to throw on there. Let me tell you.
Potentiometer is in the chat or saying there. It's incredibly dirt cheap and doesn't require like extra chips to process the information. They just worked. I bet a potentiometer literally is a penny for these companies. I bet it's that cheap.
It has to be a drop in the bucket, right? Like not even a drop in the bucket. It's like it is side splash and whatnot.
I mean, and also I bet like, you know, for these bigger companies that sell a lot of these, potentiometers probably are in, you know, easy supply, and these Hall effect sensors are probably a little bit more difficult to manufacture. So a lot of concerns go into it. They need to just bite the bullet though, and if the solution's out there, they need to just use it.
Most definitely. God, what I wouldn't give for a Joy-Con that doesn't drift. All right, next email comes from Maloy. Maloy. Good game for boomer? Is their subject title? Hello, bombs. I'm not a boomer, but haven't been committed to games for the last 5 years. No, I don't blame marriage. Crying face laughing emoji. I want to play finish newish games that are not too difficult because my gamer reflexes suck now. Looking forward to your expert advice. P.S. Diablo-like FPS action adventure is my jam. Cheers, Maloy from Manila.
I think a good thing is to like challenge yourself a little bit in a way that is fun. So my recommendation is going to be neon white, and don't look at your friend's leaderboard. Just go in there and try to get the golds, and then get the all the presents inside each level. And I think as you're doing that, you might find that some of your reflexes start to come back. And if you get engaged with that stuff and you want to try to get better at that stuff, you can. And if you don't, it's still a fun game that provides a lot of challenge in a silo away from everything that's happening with like score chasing and things like that.
This isn't a joke. I would recommend Fortnite. I would wholeheartedly, like, if you are trying to like reacclimate yourself to playing mouse and keyboard games, if you're playing on a PC, that can help build up that muscle memory back to maybe where it once was. Also, it's just so casual enough that you won't care as much if you never get a victory royale, because there's an obscene amount of things to do that you constantly feel you are on the hamster wheel, just constantly getting things. I'd also recommend maybe trying, if you want like a AAA style game, maybe try and check out something that was outside of your original wheelhouse. Maybe check out something like StarCraft, perhaps, like an RTS, maybe a 4X game is up your alley.
Yeah. Or even like one of those grand strategy games, like Europe Universalis or whatever, and
Universalis.
Universalis? That sounds much better.
Universalid?
What? Universe Salad, and then King's not King's Quest. That's wrong. But the other one from the same
Crusader
publisher.
Kings.
We're like Crusader Kings. Thank you. Where you're trying to have a family lineage. You are on top of things. That stuff could be fun because like you could tell your own stories, and it's like also sprawling and big, and it's done at its own pace and things like that. It might be a good fit for you.
Or Final Fantasy 14. Just get all the way invested in like an MMO like that. I know Michael Heim was going wild about whatever islands they've added and the patch that came out. I just want to experience that hype. Every time the internet, or at least my Twitter timeline, explodes about Final Fantasy 14, I have the biggest FOMO. Anyway, next email comes from Joe in Michigan. Subject reads, what happens to WoW after the acquisition? Papa Xbox recently said he plans to put several Activision Blizzard games on Xbox Game Pass, but did not say anything about World of Warcraft. What do you think is in store for WoW? Will it continue to require a game purchase and monthly subscription? Will it be rolled into Game Pass, substantially bolstering their numbers? Love you all, Joe in Michigan.
I think that they are going to probably take some time. Microsoft, in the past, when they've had big questions like this, they do a lot of research and a lot of math and predicting like what will happen and what do we get and what do we lose by making any one decision. When they were deciding whether or not Bethesda would go exclusive, they looked at every scenario, and the numbers, I saw like some numbers laid out in front of me, like, hey, if we do this, we're going to make this much money, but if we make it fully exclusive, we'll lose this much money, but it's worth this much in gaining attraction to Game Pass. It's almost like, built-in marketing and stuff like that. I think that for WoW, it might be the kind of thing that helps them justify slowly getting rid of Xbox Live Gold. Because Xbox Live Gold is this antiquity, this vestige of an old era where they're like, hey, we want someone to give us money per month just to play games online. And as like they've moved further and further into Game Pass, that feels way out of date. But it still makes them a lot of money because people pay it just to play Call of Duty and things like that. So it's gonna hard to rip off that Band-Aid. But if you put something like WoW into Game Pass and say, hey, if you have Game Pass, you have WoW and you have everything else, there it goes. Or if they keep it separate, well, then WoW could be this thing that's like making them that money while they figure out what to do with Xbox Live Gold and very much getting rid of it. Now, I know I've said this for a long time. People get mad at me like, you lied about them getting rid of Xbox Live Gold. It's been on their map for a very long time of what they want to do. They just need to get to a certain level with Game Pass to actually pull the trigger on that. and maybe WoW is something that can help them figure that out. So I think it's something along those lines where they try to plug it in a way that doesn't disrupt the amount of money that WoW can make, while also maximizing the return they can get from whatever integration they do with Game Pass.
Here's a bad business plan. What I think they should do.
Yeah, let's do it.
They should just make WoW the social hub for everything Xbox related, so it forces everyone to play it.
Rename it Xbox Home.
Yeah.
Everybody, World of Warcraft is now Xbox Home.
You're
got
hired.
a little apartment in there. Yeah. Well done,
1
Jen.
versus 100. It's gonna be in WoW. Forge
that's an
mode.
idea.
Now it's in WoW. Halo Infinite Co-op. It's in WoW.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it'll have everyone saying
yeah.
WoW for good or bad.
The new Windows operating system is now WoW. Yeah, there you go. I love it.
You know, yeah, they got to get back to the letters. I haven't really liked Windows since XP.
Mm-hmm.
Windows WoW.
WOW. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It
See,
makes sense.
I just did it myself. I just did it to me. I wowed me. All right. Last week, we talked a little bit about plastic instruments. And then we have a follow-up email from Chris from Alabama. Hey, Bombcast. Having worked for GameStop during the big days of Guitar Hero and Rock Band, I can give a little insight into some of the stuff that happened there that contributed to the guitar shortage a bit. GameStop used to take trades on the guitars, and stores would have dedicated gondolas full of them. Oh, yeah.
Gondolas.
And
Gondolas.
What do you mean by gondolas?
Full on gondolas.
I'm gonna Google Guitar Hero gondola. I'm gonna see what
Is
happens.
there a little guy with a long stick in the back?
No, it's a guitar, Jess.
It's a bit long. It's just the neck of the guitar, really long.
We would get overloaded with them to the point where the average store had boxes of extras in the back of loose guitars. The used ones would constantly be returned as defective from wear and tear and would always end up getting field destroyed instead of shipped out to try and get them repaired. Field destroyed items always had to be made unusable and dumpster. If you didn't destroy them, you had to deal with the dumpster diving assholes. One day alone, I spent a solid 45 minutes smashing defective guitar controllers on a cement pole next to the dumpster.
Very rock and roll.
Going with the bass bat style grip on the neck, of course. It was such a nice stress relief after a long day. So countless guitars were destroyed back in the day rather than attempting to repair them. Many by the hands of stressed out GameStop managers. Chris from Alabama.
Oh, it's so wasteful.
There's no other way. There is no other way to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, like when the market peaks and then craters like that, yeah, it's like it all just has to end up somewhere. And then if that place is a GameStop, you need to treat it with the least amount of respect possible. So that's what happens.
Interest never cratered in my heart. I feel like the only person. I feel like one of the few people that was like just into Rock Band, and I'm still into Rock Band, but nobody wants to play anymore, so I don't have my damn instruments.
We should play. We should find a time to play.
You know what?
Or at least go sing karaoke at the very least.
You know, we could.
I want a karaoke.
I stopped by the office, and there was at least 2 different sets of functional Guitar Hero Rock Band stuff. Maybe if we get together in person, maybe perhaps October, maybe we should do that.
Maybe use the company card to FedEx that across the country. Hell yeah, do it.
Come on, let's do it.
Well, anyway, before we wrap up the show, Jess, you had something to add?
Oh, I was just going to say that a friend of mine figured out how to do the karaoke part of Rock Band over the internet. And you can call into him and sing into your microphone, and it gets picked up by his system, and you get graded and all that stuff. Impressive. Latency-wise, very impressive.
Can we mod in our own songs so I can do the Ass Boys song that Jordan did for him?
Maybe.
I would love that. Yeah.
Before we wrap up the show, I hit up the Giant Bomb Discord and fielded some questions. You too can join the Giant Bomb Discord. It's full of lovely, lovely folks.
So nice.
Everyone is so nice. That's where I post all of my thirst traps and everything, all there. But if you're premium, you get to access to a bunch of special little channels, and you get to ask fun questions. I have not looked at any of these, so I'm going to do that now.
Yeah. Going blind.
Phone asks, have you ever Have you ever had any workplace fights at prior jobs? How did they get resolved?
I mean, I've argued with people, but I've never had fist fights.
I think they just mean an argument.
Oh, argument?
Oh, okay.
I thought they meant like full on fight.
Like, have you had full on, like, who would have a full on fight at their, like, a physical fight at their job and then still have their job?
Well, like, witnessing one versus participating in one.
But this is like, have you been in?
I mean, I worked at the Kroger, and then I went to the Kroger when I wasn't working to go pick someone up, and it must have been some guys that, like, I made a joke to them at school, and they were, like, filming something at the school in the parking lot. I'm sorry. And then they came, like, okay, well, now we're going to go fight this Jeff guy. And they came out with me with a divider from Kroger, from the checkout lane. And it was like, and then they tried to hit me with it, and I grabbed it. Yeah, the little stick.
The little dividing stick.
Yeah. And I grabbed it, and I just took it from him. And I'm like, well, now I have it. Like, what is your plan now? and I'm sure we hit him a few times. Mostly they just ran away. But I remember I put that divider in my car, and I had it. And then next time we got it out was when we got in another fight at a red light in town, like months later. I think I've told that story before. But
knife versus
yes.
bat versus Kroger divider.
Kroger divider, yes, exactly.
I'm surprised they were able to walk out of the store with a Kroger divider. Every time I try and buy one, the cashier just puts it away.
But I'm.
All right.
What are we doing here?
I got into a heated argument at my escape room job about how we needed to fix the fish.
What?
Gotta fix
I mean, the
fish.
band does need to improve. I agree, but which ones are you talking about?
In our spooky cabin room, which I think is still operational, there was a Billy Bass fish that the engineers at the escape room, of which there was like only one or two, they modified it so you can modify these Billy Bass singing fish to sing your own songs or be Siri or something like that. So we modified it so that it says it has a whole little speech and it's a big riddle and it's a part of a puzzle and da da da. So, but the thing is that this fish is at about like 6'4" high. It's a little higher than a door frame. It's over a door frame, in fact. And goddamn people be touching this fish, be groping this fish all the time. They broke the fish. It no longer does the lip flap. It only does the flex of its whole body forward to kind of look at it, little tail flappy, but it doesn't talk with its mouth. And it was driving me crazy because we were still playing the audio, but he was like psychically, I guess, telling you stuff, and people wouldn't even notice the fucking hilarious fish that we spent so much time making. And I was like, we need to fix the fish. I'm losing my mind. It can't talk anymore. And I got into like a huge argument with my boss over it, and like low key, I think he almost fired me right then and there.
Lovely.
I feel like honestly, guys, as a white man, I was able to pretty much say anything at my job, and I could just come back the next day, and everyone was just like normal. I remember, like, I worked at Jimmy John's, and I would just treat the manager. Listen, the manager treated us really poorly, and so I just gave it back to them. And I felt like if anyone else would have done that, they would have got fired. But I was just like, apparently not. Apparently, I'm just coming back the next day and still just working here. But I would yell at them constantly about like not letting us have direct deposit and all the. I'm like, I'm gonna start a union, guys. You better watch out and all this stuff. And that was like, whatever. Like, okay, yeah, sure thing, Jeff.
Mike Minotti in the chat asking, why didn't he want to fix the fish? Mike, that was why I was losing my mind. I'm like, why can't we fix the fish? Like, it was driving me insane. And it's like, we made the prop once. Make it again. We had all these spare Billy Bass fish in the warehouse that were all kind of like half didn't have all
ready to go.
No, not ready to go. They were like a harvested for parts, basically.
Okay, yeah, spare parts. Okay, yeah.
But it's like harvest a part from one of those fuckers and put in this fucker. But come on! Like, if you made it once, you can make it again. And also, if you made it once and can't make it again, why did you make it such a crucial prop in the fucking escape room if you only have one of them? This is what I was talking about.
All right, next question from Discord comes from Pally Killer. You need to come up with a new assassination scenario in Hitman for IO Interactive. It can be on an existing map or an entirely new setting. What's your new scenario?
Fish.
I was gonna say.
Billy Bass fish, but when it talks, it's got like a gun in its mouth, and when it talks, it just like pew, like shoots directly at the person beholding the Billy Bass.
I've already said mine before. I'll just repeat it real quick. You take the train level and you take all the characters from the murder mystery level and you put them in the train and you put them in the murder mystery on the train. Yes, let's do that. But okay, so a GameStop. And one of the kills is the guy standing in front of the Guitar Hero guitar gondola, and it just you push it over and kills him.
No, the gondola.
Not the gondola.
Escape room.
Yeah,
level.
fantastic.
Really
that'd be good.
So good.
Also, I want some sort of like, I don't know. Can we mix this up with Saw somehow, like Jigsaw?
Basically, it's basically
some sort of
we
weird
definitely
like
could do that.
Yeah, lots of ways to die in those movies.
Okay. Next Discord question comes from Jedi Series KV. What's the most appealing game / genre that you never want to play? Competitive StarCraft, because it looks way too complicated and my reflexes will never be able to match up with it. That and Rainbow Six Siege. I've always wanted to get into it.
You would enjoy it though,
but it just seems so impenetrable at this point because it's been going for forever.
Yeah, if you watch anything competitive from that scene, it is because they're playing like a different game than what most normal people play. But it's a good time though. I haven't played in a couple of years. Man, we should play some Siege. That would be fun.
For me, it's just like all fighting games.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually my answer too. Yes, fighting games. I love the way they look, everything about them. And the music was into them at Street Fighter 2. Yes, Street Fighter 2 was like, I'm getting this, and then it just left me behind, and I try to play them now, and I feel incapable.
I'm just like, I might as well be a toddler throwing a tantrum, hitting the buttons. Like, it's just pathetic. And also, I don't have the patience to learn.
Broken Billy Bass fish for fingers, like just slapping it on the controller.
Slapping on there. I just don't have the patience to learn. And I definitely don't have the patience to get good. Like, because it's not just learning. Like, you have to actually be, like, pretty competent to even, like, play online at all, right? Like, everyone's so good.
See through the matrix a little bit, because, like, it is about feinting and understanding what your opponents could be doing at any one moment and making them think you're going to do one thing when you're actually going to do the other. And I'm like, okay, I understand all of that. I don't understand how I get from here to that.
I feel like those are two different parts of my brain, like the strategy part of my brain and the reaction part of my brain, and never do those two communicate with each other.
Yeah, I like playing poker because it's like it's a very slow process of that same thing of like making your opponent think you're going to do one thing and doing the other and all that stuff. But that's a turn-based strategy game, and I can understand that.
All right, let's just read a couple more here. Let's see. Flaboda asks, you're on the road and starving. You need to pick a place to eat without being able to look up from your phone. What's your inner checklist for picking the best option?
Wendy's.
I was going to say In-N-Out if you were driving up and down California.
Also,
but they're all the same.
I never am.
The question is just like, what's like a go-to place that I can trust will be fine. Wendy's is definitely a good one. Arby's probably for me. I like Arby's, so yeah. Yep, that's right. Give me a roast beef right now. Give me 2 roast beef and curly fries.
The fries are good.
What does that even mean? I don't know what they. Okay. Anyway, Hype Bongla asks, hypothetically speaking, if you had more money than the Crockett's, would you sit back? Oh, okay. If you had more money than the yes. If you had more money than the Crockett's, would you sit back and take this shit? Okay, Jess,
this was a video game website.
Jess, I'm gonna explain the situation as quickly as possible. Yeah. All right.
No.
Say your big champion.
Consent to be explained to. I don't want to hear it.
I'm gonna explain this to you. Okay.
Here it goes.
All right. Big dude that everyone loved in wrestling, who's kind of like the bad boy of everything, gets brought back. He's the champion now, but then he has a very fragile ego, and then talks mess about other employees, perhaps the executive vice presidents in the company. An altercation ensues where his homie bites one of those EVPs. What do you do here, Jess?
I don't care. That's what I do. Not care.
Well, hey, guess what? That is the same attitude as the president of the company, so you are onto something there.
Hey,
Look at that guy. Look at that face.
Which is the man we're talking about? The fluffy-haired one?
Yes, Tony Khan.
Tony Khan is the one that it doesn't care, and then the bleedy guy one is the bad guy that, he's the one that apparently no one likes working with. Even though he's got this persona about him where he left the last place and he was the victim when he probably actually it seemed like it was at least equivalent in the problems and stuff like that. So anyhow, so then CM Punk. Okay, all right, I'm not gonna keep it going.
All right. Last one.
God, Jess is so rude.
Last one comes from Always Be Corgi. Fantastic name. I'll always be a Corgi, sure. What's something nice you'd like to say to someone else on the Bombcast? Spread the power of positivity. It's a new day. Yes, it is. We can extend this past just the three of us here and to the whole staff. This actually isn't to anyone that works at Giant Bomb, but I just need to say how much I appreciate and just adore Mike Minotti.
He's a good boy.
He's a good guy. He's a good egg.
A good egg. Yeah. Did you listen to their new 90s Disney episode about themed restaurants? It got me really wanting to go to Planet Hollywood for sure.
I don't know how it will ever happen, but I would love to go to Disneyland with Mike Minotti.
Well, I haven't been in a very long time now, especially not as an adult, and I'm gonna make them plan it for him and his brothers and stuff. Make him plan it for me and my kids, and my wife, and I'm imagining just come with us and help us figure this out. So we should all just go at the same time, and then maybe I can.
Oh, what are you guys doing here? Oh my god!
Yeah,
I would love to go to Disney World or Land with some kids.
Yes, I'm very excited to We're we just bought a house. It's hard, but I'm no, the money I'm saving is for this specific reason to take them while they're still 3 to 5, 4 to 6. So yeah, it's gonna be perfect. Yeah, I can't
Something
wait.
nice I'll say about Jeff Grubb. Cute fucking kids. Love hearing about them.
Yes.
Love seeing them. Oh my god.
What a good man.
Precious. Make my ovaries feel feelings for a moment.
Well, I apologize for that. I'm not going to take any responsibility for any decisions you make with your life going forward, just so you know.
No babies in here. No.
I will say, Jess, you always are working, and yet you always make time to ask if anyone else needs help with anything, and that is very nice to see, and it's very.
I want to be helpful.
And it's noticed. It's not ever where it doesn't feel like we're bothering you. It feels no, I want to be helpful, and that helps us. It makes me want to be oh, I can ask for help.
Ooh. Also, shout out to an actual Giant Bomb employee, Matthew Rory. I love this man.
Oh my god,
yes.
he works
the things he understands
so hard.
Yes,
Matt.
We have problems with things, and the ways that he's oh, and we need to talk to this person. I'm like, oh my god, that would have taken me a month just to figure that out. And
the balls that he juggles.
Yeah.
Are pendulous.
Literal.
He loves to juggle pendulous
and metaphorical.
Pendulous.
And Rory, for folks that don't know, Rory handles an obscene amount of things on the website.
Crazy.
Too much. I think he does the job of 3 people, Loki. He is always wheeling and dealing and on the ball, and I cannot believe it.
Yeah, he's even on the ball about the balls he's juggling. He's on those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, Backlar's really good at handling all the stuff between us and anything else that's going on with the company. Just kind of being a buffer for those things is crucial to me as someone who just isn't good at handling those things. So
no, he has the finesse.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
exactly.
savvy.
Yeah.
Even when it was just onboarding stuff for me, and it was me and I think Dan were both missing some of our onboarding stuff because we were coming on right at E3, and he's no, listen, I'm hearing about it, don't you worry, but I wasn't going to bother you with it when I was hey, I think I'm missing some stuff. He's oh, you are. I'm okay, cool, thank you for handling it so much. I really appreciate that. So
sick.
Yeah,
and Jan, you are such a good manager.
Nonsense,
oh my fucking god, you're so cool and so nice and so supportive, and also
finger on
always,
the pulse in a way. Yeah, he's always knows what's going on.
Willing to help.
Yep.
So
it's a good
helpful,
team.
So nice.
We're a very good team.
We're tight.
We're all great.
I was watching the Japanese cartoon, also known as a Japanimation Naruto, and in that show, a kid was fighting and he's hurt and he was still going to fight, and he finishes the fight and he wins, and he's about to fall back on his back because he's so exhausted. And right then, his sensei, Kakeshi Sensei, just flashes right up there, and he puts his knee into his back so no one notices he's about to fall over. And that's what I feel this team is. It's just you got the knee in the back to make sure we're not going to like look weak in front of everyone else, and that is what I like about this team. Yes, exactly. I was the same way. I'm like, whew, Kakeshi Sensei, you're hot, and that's how I feel about this team.
Yes, that's right. We are all Kakashi Sensei.
That's fucking right.
We're all hella cool. What else is happening this week? We didn't have a Monday meeting, so
it's a bit of a wacky week.
Yeah,
because we usually, for a little behind the scenes baseball here, we usually schedule this whole schedule on Monday, and we sort out like, okay, what time are we doing this? What day are we doing this? I'm interested in this. Anybody want to do it with me? Da da da. So we didn't get to have that meeting this week because it was Labor Day. So if it looks a little scanty on here, it's because it's like we haven't planned out everything because of that. So forgive the schedule.
Yes. Also, I
we
realized
did a Bombcast today, so it's like we already got some stuff going. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's not there.
I actually won't be here on Friday, so there may not be a Sekiro Choa.
Oh right. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. It's fine. It
That's
even
how it goes
says at the
sometimes,
bottom there, card subject to change.
That's true.
So, this is probably what the week is going to look like.
Hey, I will play Xenoblade Chronicles because I didn't play it on Monday, and I would like to not skip a week. So this is perfect for me. So yeah, let's do that. I'll do that on Friday instead. So
boom.
For more Xenoblade this Friday, everybody. Fantastic.
The chat's asking, no Jeffs this week. I'm not sure if there's Jeffs this week.
Traveling last week was making it hard. She might have to catch up on stuff. We will see.
Yeah. So I'm not super sure. So I didn't put it on just because I really have not heard whether or not what's going on with that just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have a meeting and it just didn't work out. So,
But there will be Game S mornings for the rest of the week. Grubb, I believe we have a special guest on Thursday, correct?
Yeah. We have Patrick Klepek on Thursday. I think I'm having Kyle Hilliard from GameSpot on Wednesday. So yeah, look out for that. It's going to be a good week. Wow. And then I think Tam should be with me on Friday. So, and I'm any day this week we could hear about Nintendo stuff. Sony could announce something any day. I don't know for sure, but they could. It feels like so. Could be big news. Could be wait until next week. We'll see. Either way, Game S morning is going to be a lot of fun for the whole week. So I'm looking forward to it.
And I don't know about you, Jeff Grubb, but I'm excited to see Dan play more Sonic 2006, and I feel like we have the majority vote over him, so I think he has to play Sonic 2006.
We're going to be there. It
He's
would be
listening
very rude
somewhere
of him to
right
not
now.
be there. It would be very rude if he didn't show up to play.
He's in the chat
going, very good time. I had a very good time watching that game with you. So yeah, let's do that.
I have so many questions on this game.
Play the fucking game, he says.
Play the game. You're going to finish it.
Backlar is going to continue on with Eternal Darkness this week as well. If you missed it this morning, we had an episode of the Power Bombcast featuring Mike Minotti and Jordan from Al Bummer. We may potentially, depending on how tomorrow night goes, have another episode of the Power Bombcast. Also, our sweet little art boy Justin Vachon was at the show, and I would like to hear his recounting of how that went.
Be cool.
Yeah.
Was he the one wearing the Giant Bomb t-shirt?
That was him.
Yes,
oh my God! Represent.
There we go. That's our boy. That's our sweet little art boy. Jess, Jeff Grubb, anything else before we get on out of here?
I'm just love you.
There we go.
Be good to each other.
Be good to each other. Go outside, drink some water. Anytime you see a V or the shape of a V, that's for victory because you just won, baby. That's right. I need to find the thing to play it. And if you see that V, just hold out your own V and then just scissor it. Hold on. I just had an epiphany. All right. Whenever
electronic epiphany.
Epiphany. Whenever, thanks to Drew Scanlon, anytime a stream ends, people throw up the diamond, right? The Sims diamond. I'm going to say, what if that diamond, what if we get a little closer to each other? What if we get closer and just scissor? There we go, folks.
Yeah, there we go, everybody. Yeah.
Rolling the intro. It should eventually play. Is it playing? It's not playing. God,
I don't hear it.
Dang it. The outro.
I'm going to do it forever.
Which one is
Scissor forever. Scissor forever.
Is it this one? There we go.
This is tongue and
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.